place. Why?
Yeah.
Spirit definitely got to try and do something in return. Yeah, they themselves bring the two supports up to top. Just sort of figuring out what to do about this roaming disruptor here in the early minutes of the ball of Toronto Tokyo. So a very nice room for it to fight with, but already up top, Spirit, they'll lose Mira.
Yeah, it's a DD Toronto Tokyo though. Let's see how he can respond back with this, because now you have a Pangolier with low mana, and he's going to be aware of it. So he knows that he can make a move here, and the Pangolier won't really be able to respond.
Yeah, this is an excellent move for Toronto Tokyo to find it. He's going to use it straight away. Goes aggressive. Is going to miss the dissimilate though. A couple of hits will do it. Can he quite close the gap? No, he's not going to be able to get the second hit in. Nothing to say, steps away. I mean, that would have been such a big kill for him to find. He got the dream room for it, but he couldn't quite get the job done.
Yeah, absolutely. It's unfortunate, but, you know...
Yeah. Toronto Tokyo feels that he can get in with the Astral Step. Well, why knows? He's keeping his distance.
Yeah, and if you take a look at the net worth, you see Yatoro. He's just going to start accelerating his farm even more, but I'm impressed by how well the Ursa's been able to keep up. And this is largely due to the fact that they had lane control for so long up at the top lane, and they were able to just keep their heroes, so the enemy heroes, so close to the tower, so Tide could never really feel free.
He's going to try and step over for Mira, but again, Team Spirit, they've two supports up here, both Mira and Maposhka, making sure that there's never the opportunity for Arme to get any kills up here right now. As you say, Arme doesn't care too much. Complete free farm, level with that of Yatoro's Naga Siren. He's having no struggles whatsoever, but Spirit just trying their best to limit anything else going into the hands of the Ursa this early.
Yeah, and you notice the Naga in the bottom lane now. She's just going to put her illusions on the lane, push out the waves, while she farms the jungle camps close by, and try to get ahead of the Ursa by doing this constantly. And LGD are going to try to match by using the Wisp Overcharge to allow the Ursa to farm. And we notice both these teams are so good at stacking, and here we go again. Runes are spawning.
And Toronto Tokyo is going to be the focus. Quick jump away from the Rolling Thunder.
Yes, it's an Arcane Rune secured though, so if they can manage to survive these 70 seconds and nothing too bad happens, this is a huge rune for them to have.
All about these power runes early on, especially in a game, 8 minutes in, only the 2 kills so far.
Yeah, I mean, it's the tension. Neither team really has anything to do yet, and they're both drafting for slightly later timings in the game. The Tidehunters now finally hit level 6, so if there's an opening, look for some sort of rotation. I think it's hard to go for look to see Spirit trying to, LGD trying to make some move. But I think if LGD gets the farm up right now, they feel like they've hit they have enough map space to where they're comfortable playing around their cooldowns and just waiting for the Disruptor ultimate to come online, wait for the Lycan to finish up his items, and then just play around his forms together with the power runes that the Pangolier is securing.
I mean, in this sort of game where, both teams playing as careful
Is it enough to just sleep away half the wolf fight duration and then try to fight them afterwards?
I think we're definitely going to see Yatoro start to increase the lead against Arme. Bottom lane, White. He'll drop the Static Storm, trying to save himself, but collapsing. Maposhka will run him down, take him out. Faith Beyond, he's looking to get involved in it, but nothing to say, being brought over by Xingqiu. They will get Maposhka. Can the three of them get collapsed? They're trying to commit their best onto him. They will leave the two cores behind as Xingqiu trying to let Nothing to Say and Faith Beyond finish the job, but they just can't. The damage isn't there. Toronto Tokyo was also starting to sweep over, so PSG LGD, they have to back up and just accept the trade as it is, the support for support.
Yeah, and Collapse now knowing that, you know what, they can't actually kill me without the Ursa. It's only the Ursa that can threaten my life. Just comfortably sits bottom alone, pushes out the waves, gaining as much farm as he can. And in the meanwhile, Yatoro just pushes out top lane, farming out all these top jungle camps. If you take a look at the Dire jungle, there are five.
I mean, Yatoro's farm, he is creeping further and further ahead of Arme's Ursa. You know, if there's not going to be any blood being spilt and it is just the creeps dying, this Naga Siren is just going to charge ahead in regards to farm. Yatoro is going to be huge.
Yeah, and he's going for a very interesting build. He's buying the Aghanim Scepter, and the Aghanim Scepter allows him to use his Ensnare on heroes that are either slept by his ulti or spell immune. So this will give them a way to deal with BKB. And traditionally, the way you deal with, for example, a Tidehunter Ravage is by buying a BKB. Or in this case, you have the Pangolier with Rolling Thunder. So he's actually going to be able to lock down the Pangolier during his Rolling Thunder with his net. It's a very, very smart item decision here from the Naga.
A very long lockdown and reduced cooldown and increased cast range. He's going to have no trouble finding the target that he wishes every single team fight.
Yep. LGD also heavily reliant on the lockdown, so I wouldn't be too surprised to see him use it, specifically just to make sure the Pango can't roll over his teammates.
And I guess sort of the smart approach with this item is the fact that this sort of deals with this timing where PSG LGD is going to be more ready to fight than he is, right? He can just sort of be the anti-fight. He just stops it, gets out of there, can keep playing his game. And certainly one of the crucial parts of PSG LGD's initiation, it's shut down completely.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for Spirit, that's we dragged this game on, and literally slowing him down during his role, forcing his timing to be unable to be used, is just exactly what Spirit are looking for in this game. But yeah, we're starting to see items gear up on LGD's side. If you take a look at the Lycan, his timing is really going to be the big thing, but I think Spirit have won the early game in that there's no Roshan killed yet. And that means the second Roshan is going to spawn slower, and that's no Aghanim Shard for Ursa for the first half hour of the game.
If you're PSG LGD right now, what sort of calls are you making? Are you looking at an item that's round the corner and then saying we've got to go? Do they need to go right now? How urgent do they need to be?
I think they looks like they're gearing up to look for an opportunity, right? You finished up the Helm of the Overlord. The Ursa now has his Diffusal Blade. Your Wisp is closing in on mech. You already have the Holy Locket. So there's a lot of nice tools for LGD to take a straight up team fight if Team Spirit presented to them.
Siame. It's going to start with a bit of a tickle on Toronto Tokyo. The Remnant holds back the bear. Quick jump out with the steps. Nothing to say. He's trying to close in. Does he want to keep diving beneath the tier 2? Maybe trying to get some vision for a setup from the Disruptor. But now Team Spirit, they're far enough away. Nothing to say. We're going to hit with the Swashbuckler. Procs of the Maelstrom. Nearly bringing him down. But Toronto Tokyo gets away on as low HP as he is. Collapse also able to TP out as there's nothing else to stop his escape. Team Spirit, they're able to avoid the move completely by PSG LGD once again.
Yeah, they didn't even have to involve the Naga. So during all of this time, Yatoro's still just gaining farm. He's 2,000 gold ahead of the Ursa already.
Oh my, this is going to be a problem.
He's getting out of control. He's only, I believe he just finished his Aghanim Scepter too. So he has Manta and Aghanim Scepter at 17 minutes into the game. He's crazy farm.
This is, I mean, Yatoro, it really has been eyes on him throughout the whole tournament. The performance of Spirit top lane setups there with an net. That's the mid gone. Nothing to say. Going down, Yatoro. Instant Song TP as he knows the response will be there from PSG LGD. Gets out. They cannot catch him. Yatoro will continue to farm.
Yeah, this is a really important kill, but by forcing the Naga side Look at the Lycan, you can see he decided to not go for the Aghanims, he's going for drums. They're gearing up for a quicker timing in this game. I think the mechanism comes out on XinQ, they get the BKB finished up on Ame, and they're going to look for some sort of team fight. But the way that Team Spirit are abusing the vision, if you take a look at the map, like, there are almost no dire wards anywhere. Radiant are in firm control of where the vision is. And the only ward that they have, I think Miposhka literally just... Oh, there you go. Just controlling the vision. They have more information to play with, and this is what's allowing Team Spirit to constantly be reading LGD and how they're moving around the map.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Bottom. Toronto Tokyo, he'll show his face, but not worried about any catch from PSG LGD. They just don't have the members around. Space is made, the tier 2 tower going down at the top lane. There won't be any from PSG LGD here as Spirit just continue to hit the timings, take the objectives at a pace that PSG LGD's lineup will be incredibly jealous of. This is what they wanted to be doing, and it's happening the other way around.
Yeah, absolutely. They are starting to finish up some key items though. You see the Pangolier now has a Blink Dagger, so they have an easier form of initiation rather than just trying to run at them with a roll. So if Team Spirit heroes start getting cocky and playing alone, there is a way for LGD to respond and punish. Very close to this mechanism on the Wisp as well. It's just 100 gold away. And this really is the Wisp's big timing. You have both the Holy Locket and the mech to heal up the Ursa. And Ursa's closing in on BKB, so I'm smelling a fight in the waters, Owen.
Yeah, the next one, it's got to be strong from PSG LGD. Another rough fight, and this game could quickly fall out of control.
Yeah, and as strong as a Naga Siren is when she's playing this kind against each other, the Naga can't really fight up against the Ursa straight up. So if LGD is able to corner Team Spirit and they can take a fight where it's just a straight up fight with the BKB and the mechanism finished, that could be an amazing timing for them. But Spirit don't want to allow that, so they're deciding to smoke up and make the move on their own first.
Let's see if they catch PSG whilst they least expect it. BKB is out for Ame.
Dire's middle
tower. Let's start things off. They'll go for Y. Take the disruptor out of the action. Rather impressive outpost, taken back into the hands of Spirit and keeping full control around this area, this Roshan, as you say, which is just sort of it's a long distant dream it seems for PSG LGD. They're never getting anywhere close to this pit until they're able to find the fight that they've been hunting for the whole 22 minutes of this game. They'll smoke up now, ready to go. PSG LGD, they have to find success here.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you take a quick look at Lycan before the fight breaks out, he's decided not to go for the wolf fight. They recognize that they won't be able to play strat the way they intended for it to. So he's going to be building up some damage items as well.
Smoke. We'll dispel here on Toronto Tokyo. Same to be said for PSG LGD. They know that both teams are waiting here up to the side of the river on the respective edges, and now Ame, he's going to sneak into the Roche, start to try and take it out here.
Yeah, for the first time in this game, they've been allowed to take back the Dire jungle and try to apply some pressure to Roche. So I expect Team Spirit also recognize that, you know what, we've given up the... Well, what would LGD do with that? Well, they would go to Roshan, so...
See Spirit check this out. Ame's going to slow it down a little bit. The Spirit's coming in. They know that they know. Stop it. Onto the IO. They're going to lead in. There's the jump straight away. They're looking to pass through the IO. The thing reaches the ball into the hands of Ame. Ame's able to get the Roche kill, get the Aegis. They get the static storm down. The Rolling Thunder has won in control. Toronto Tokyo. But he's out with an Astral Step. Toronto Tokyo actually makes it out of there. Dissimulate as well. PSG LGD may have got the Roche, they may have got the Aegis. Toronto Tokyo will still go down as Faith Beyond was able to wrap around and find him.
Yeah, really nice play there from LGD. What an unfortunate event there for XinQ. He gets pulled into the Roche pit. You really want to stay outside with a tether, but stay tethered to... He takes one step too close, and then the Wisp comes inside the Roche pit, which gives Spirit the perfect opportunity there to go in, but I don't think they were quite expecting the BKB, so... All in all, I think they're happy with this. You know, they gave up the Aegis, but it took them 24 minutes to get there, so...
Definitely the beginnings of PSG LGD getting the game back under their control.
Yeah, absolutely. Now they need to abuse the fact that they have the Aegis to try to gain some control here. You want to try to get the lanes pushed out, force Team Spirit to play reactive to you, and then once you
Xingqiu will manage to make his way around the Remnant. Quick tether back over to the safety of Arme.
Yeah, I mean, for Spirit, I think you want to fight, but it needs to be the right fight. You ideally want Yatoro to try to force some hero around the map. And then once you know that the PSG LGD's heroes aren't in position to connect, then you can go for some sort of smoke. Then you can make that move. But the difficulty for them is you can't necessarily... You don't have the tools to bring him down at the start of a team fight.
Got the eyes on the two of them bottom. PSG LGD, Arme and Xingqiu on their own down here for now. There is a relocate available. And of course with the Aegis, Arme a very hard target to jump. Pressure continues from Yatoro and his illusions in the mid lane. Keeping these waves shoved right up towards the base of PSG.
And down bottom, Team Spirit are just waiting patiently, but LGD have recognized that they TP'd bottom, right? So it's very likely that their heroes are stuck on that side of the map. So here they come sweeping up towards the Dire jungle, understanding that Spirit cannot already have moved their pieces from all the way from bottom back to top after the TP response to the tier 2 tower. So just smart play coming out from both sides. I think we saw this in the VP Spirit.
Thorn complete. They're able to get that locked down with the Lion and the Tide. That amp up of the damage will allow them to just destroy whichever hero they target.
Yep, and something that I noticed Team Spirit do a lot when they feel like they're on the back foot is take over the enemy triangle and just set up control here. And this is something that I'm sure LGD are aware of too, but Lycan's in trouble.
The setup here, you see the damage here with the Bloodthorn really amping up. It's not quite enough though. Faith Beyond makes it away, has the plate mail and I've done already onto the way to the AC. An additional bit of armor certainly helping out.
Yeah, and this is an opening now for Spirit. The Lycan form is down. One of the big tools in this team fight is gone. So in the other series when we saw LGD play the tiny Lycan, the Lycan's form himself doesn't really matter. It was all about the where does Team Spirit go when they feel like they're behind? What do they do? What is their approach? And I think LGD is one of the best teams at the tournament at just abusing this information that they're gaining about the teams. They understand what is Team Spirit specifically going to do? How do they approach the situation? And they find that smoke because of that. They're playing most of this game with very, very limited vision. I really want to point that out. Like they barely have vision of what's going on the map.
Well, even without their Tide, Spirit maintaining their towards the mid. The BKB having to be popped by nothing to say. See if Yatoro's got the setup. He has. His initial route. See if they've got any further follow-up here. They relocate. They'll take him out. They've got to keep nothing to say safe.
Yeah.
From Team Spirit as Team Spirit, they're pushing down the mid onto another tier 2 tower.
Nice play by Faith Beyond. Tanks that the Remnant with one of his wolves. But Team Spirit, they're doing this so smart, right? We heard a draft panel touch on it. Fighting 5 versus 5 is not really where they're strong. They want to delay this game, keep finding these pickoffs, try to find these opportunities where they can get a jump, burst someone really quickly, and use the fact that we have Ravage to reset. We have Naga Sleep to reset. Is forcing LGD to be very careful about how they use their cooldowns. And this is leading to them they're just playing this game very well. And these small decisions that they're making, where you notice they're not really
Of course, that timer. But they'll be keeping in mind the Roshan potential respawn in just over a minute.
And that minute feels really long, Owen. Let me... They also just bought a 4-staff on the Elder Titan. I think for Team Spirit, they're recognizing that, you know what? LGD's not going to be able to kill us if we're just able to kite out their BKBs. And that's why you notice, like, Nothing to Say also has bought a BKB. I think the idea of this is he wants to try to use it to break out of, to have a longer period of time in the teamfights where he's playing under Magic Community, because there's just so much lockdown coming out from Team Spirit.
Dire's bottom
Sephiroth
tower
Mira.
is under attack.
Toronto Toki has Yules and Kaya Sanj also eyeing up into Shiva's guard, but I would be surprised if he doesn't change it up. And on the corner he has a full BKB too, so I'm really liking Spirit for this game one. They're in a very dominant position here.
Radiant's
They're scaling up very nicely.
With the timer, they know it's going to be around the point where PSG are going to be checking. They're going to jump straight in on the Xingqiu, burst with the finger. The tire goes down, no buyback. Xingqiu cannot get back into this fight. Nothing to Say has to roll out with the Thunder.
So this is huge, right? Both Lycanform was committed, as well as the Pangolier roll. So if the Roshan bombs, which it does, this is free Roshan for Team Spirit. And remember how much we talked about how badly you want this for LGD. It doesn't even matter if the Sagas comes to use for Yatoro, they just want to make sure that PSG LGD doesn't get it. And this is the only shard, Aghanim shard, that is dropped from Roshan throughout the entire game. So that's 1,400 gold that now Ame is going to have to spend for himself.
I mean, it just goes to show how solid of a position that Spirit are in, where just a couple of ults expired by PSG LGD and a dead IO, and suddenly the rest of the lineup, they cannot do anything about Spirit taking the Roche, continuing their lead here, 7k up. I mean, Yatoro, he himself, the difference between him and Ame's farm, well on the way to having a butterfly complete for the next bit of action as well.
Yeah, and with this butterfly, he actually has the option of now utilizing his own hero too, once the situation looks good for him, because the Ursa can't just burst him. The bash is missed, there's a proc chance on the bash, there's a proc chance on by the Naga here. For the early part of the game, when he knew it was going to be a map control game, he bought the Orchid, he bought the Ags, played for look for those pickoffs, and those key pickoffs have really led to the situation that they're in the game now. Gembot picked up by Y. You can feel, they feel the pressure of the vision. They're not getting the vision that they're used to. They don't have the information that they're used to playing with in this game. Oshaz is shutting them down. Oh. And Rage forced out.
Have to stay well away from Spirit. 4 very, very scary minutes of Aegis on Toronto Tokyo. PSG LGD, they do not want to fight into this. But every minute that passes where they cannot look to brawl is going to be another just minute of pain here with the increasing momentum and mass of the cause of Team Spirit.
Yep. And surely right now, PSG LGD are discussing how do we take a team fight? What is it that we need to do? How do we need team abilities in order to catch Team Spirit off guard? And for Team Spirit, I think a lot of the communication is like, we need to make sure that we do not let LGD come out on the map. We don't want them to get out and farm. As long as we can keep them locked into their base, we can get all the items that we want, and then we get the fight that we want. And everything's going to happen on our terms. So you see, they rotate over to the top side here, expecting LGD to run out on the top side of the map. And here we go.
It's time to look for that fight, PSG LGD. Execution has to be immaculate.
Yeah, they're scouting with the wolves. They're getting the they want.
They're looking to try and start a collapse, but Collapse is able to blink away from the lead-in. They'll turn their attention over towards Yatora, but with the instead looks to hold him back. Nothing to say, is able to get out of it. As they'll get the static storm set up onto the ground for the illusions, they're just forcing back. Why? Swashbuckle's going to miss. I mean, Yatori's barely been scratched. Back up to full HP. PSG LGD, they're able to run back to base, but Collapse, he's in with the ravage onto the two of them. Sun's down on the mail, pop the BKB, turn towards Toronto Tokyo, but they cannot stay for this fight. They've got to get back to the high ground, back to the base. As PSG LGD have to charge back to the safety of their high ground as quickly as they head out. Collapse. He's going to look for the setup here outside of the base. Another BKB for Spade PR. Trying to head back to the safety of his teammates. Snare locks him down. The illusion's starting to go to work. Remnant left in the position. They drag him back with a split into the finger. My goodness, the Lycan gets absolutely destroyed. And Toronto Tokyo's not done. Diving up to the tier 4s, committing with the dissimilate. He's trying to go for GQ. Will die underneath the towers, but he's got the Aegis. He's ready for round 2.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the micro decision making from Team Spirit is so beautiful to watch. I think every time a hero pops BKB, then half a second, there's a Naga net flying at it. And in the fight, you saw Ahmed pop BKB to try to man up and fight, and then the net comes, he has to pop his ultimate. He can't use the enrage the way he wants to. He's forced to use it defensively all the time, just to break the net, just to be able to stick on top of the targets.
And just trying to clear out these illusions now. It seems all but impossible. The Rex dying, the melee Rex will fall. They'll get the jump on Yatora, but they've already lost Wyatt at the start of the action. BKB from Arme, he's trying to stay on target, but Yatora is able to sing their way back. And now he's ready to go back in. The song ends, Toronto Tokyo, BKB jumps with the remnant, grabs back the answer. Arme disappears in a matter of seconds. GQ to fall as well. GG is called. And my goodness, what a buttery smooth start to the grand finals here for Team Spirit. They couldn't have played this about 8, and this is how you dream of entering a grand finals at the International.
Yes, absolutely. Just everything they're doing, they're firing on all cylinders. Their macro understanding of the
have a strat to play around every single one that he's willing to pull out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Team Spirit are so strong.
Grand finals, and of course everybody expects LGD to be the Titan. You know, can they move them? Not only they can, they beat them, they play fearless, they come up with a great strategy. They beat probably LGD's best strategy. Their first pick, the IO Lycan, they just break it. I think, you know, as a Dota fan, this is what I was really hoping for, is like, can they compete? And yes, they can. LGD is getting
very free, very careless, very aggressive. This Bloodthorn kill on the Ursa bottom was, like you said, a huge statement. I want to say the same thing. This was like a team who saw an opening, they had an item build, they had a timing that not many teams would have pushed, played on, and pulled this off with.
Bracket prediction. A little bit of extra information there. So there are four people on the planet that have had 20. Hey, it's all up in the air from here, and Team Spirit game.
It's been incredible, especially when you go back and listen to what Silent said after the draft. He's like, yeah, we're just gonna play the game. We didn't prepare too much for them. We had secret on our mind. It definitely didn't look that way. The way they set up the team fights, the way they moved across the map. Draft aside, the way they anticipated PSG LGD and what they will do and prepared for it and counter-attacked them, it was incredible.
Yeah. PSG LGD end the game with 5 kills. That is like... And with an Ursa draft, like that's just kind of unheard of, and exactly how that draft is not meant to play out. If you're playing an Ursa and 25 minutes in you have 5 kills, there's a big problem.
Yeah, and I definitely want to piggyback on something that Notail was talking about. I think every single game that I got to either cast or every single game that I reviewed, looking over PSG LGD, even for months now, they always drafted themselves a win condition for later stages. This is one of the few games where I think as soon as that Naga's picked, they're like, uh-oh, we actually need to find something to counter this, to play fast with. I think that's why they went for this Pango. And I think it was just a genius idea, a genius draft plan from Spirit throughout the whole thing.
A genius draft plan indeed. It looked so strong from them. Was there any chance for PSG LGD to defend high ground after it went so awry in the early stages, God?
I felt like once things started going wrong, there wasn't a comeback. They needed to get ahead early and then snowball from there, going from Roshan kills to hero kills, and just really, get this massive lead that just kept on growing. So once this Naga, illusion started coming online and pushing out waves, the game was kind of already slipped away by that point.
And even though PSG LGD, they had a beautiful plan in this Pangolier last pick that can perhaps take over the game and deal with the Naga later on. They answered it. They answered it with Yaghanim's on the Naga and just completely killed their only chance. It's just beautiful.
Yeah, PSG LGD has, been the final.
Buttery smooth start to the grand finals here for Team Spirit. They couldn't have played this any better, Aiden. This is how you dream of entering a grand finals at the International.
Yes, absolutely. Just everything they're doing, they're firing on all cylinders. Their macro understanding of the game, how LGD might try to sneak out of base, they're in position to cover.
I mean, that was incredible. Yatoro turning up, doing it again. Another hero, and it looks like it's a performance that's on top of the world.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Yatoro, we all talked about Collapse so much throughout this tournament, but we gotta give Yatoro the praise he deserves. his hero pool is so wide. It's just allowing Spirit to constantly have these conditions, win conditions, over their opponents.
And it really is, just not the fact that he himself is so individually skilled on these numerous characters that he's willing to pull out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Team Spirit are so strong. They look like a fierce opponent, and I think a lot of people might have expected LGD to be the stronger team, but, you know, they just proven you wrong. These guys can beat LGD for sure.
They absolutely can. What a way to
surely the ward efficiency, and there is a little bit of a discrepancy. This was the average centuries used per D ward. LGD is still the kings of this whole thing, but you heard Insania at the beginning of this cast. You saw how the Naga illusion usage was used. Spirit understand vision extremely well, and they also understand drafts extremely well. 5 more unique heroes picked throughout this entire tournament. Maybe LGD have been holding on to things, and also it's a big credit to Yatoro, obviously, on the side of Spirit, because Ame, he's no slouch in his own self. He's been putting up some solid numbers. All you people who went in on Team Secret for your fantasy, I feel bad for you, because Ame, even in a losing series, will still be doing work. Though, granted, that's only after he matured a little bit. I think previous Ames, previous TIs for Ame, he's had some issues picking the right items, knowing when to use the right items, knowing when to buy the right items, but he has matured ever since. And this should really come as no surprise that Team Spirit has won Game 1, because this is a rematch from the OGA Dota Pit Invitational just from a month ago. And you know who won that Game 1? It was Spirit also. Yeah. After that, they lost 3 games.
Wow, a lot of confidence for Team Spirit coming out from Tsunami there. And yes, that was indeed how those grand finals went. However, since then, I think it is very safe to say that Team Spirit, over the entire 2021 year, Fog, the most improved team in Dota 2 on the planet.
Yeah, and just still playing like it's not TI, I guess you could say. Like, not feeling the pressure so much is what I mean. Because I watched them, I got to cast them and watch them throughout both of the seasons, and I was big fans of them. Tokyo was playing with super confidence. Some games, maybe a little bit too much confidence, but being able to see players go up onto even grand finals doing this versus a team like LGD, it's amazing. And you could see there, they were still taking risks in a lot of this game. They were committing a lot of spells, like even over-committing at times, and it ended up working out anyway. So
yeah, I think we've seen that multiple times when Team Spirit seemed a little down in a game. They don't really seem to care. I don't know if that's the right word to say it, but they'll try to make the plays anyway, even if they're not ahead in the game, even if they're not 20k gold ahead. If they're 20k gold down, they'll still try. That's how they were able to get to this point, Lizard.
And that's the right winning mentality. When you're 20k gold behind and you go safe and you buy yourself that BKB instead of that one extra item that could perhaps win you the team fight, you're already signing the defeat. So I really like the mentality and the approach to the game that Team Spirit is bringing to this TI.
They give off this aura where it's like, you know, we might eventually lose or get knocked out of TI, but that's okay. And turns out just playing with that kind of carefree, you know, we're just going to go out and, you know, play to win and, you know, anything can happen kind of attitude has really just worked wonders for them.
I really cannot wait already. Sorry, for True Sight, I was seeing like multiple conversations going on. You saw Zawait giving a little bit of a speech. We saw just Yatoro just, you know, having some comments back and forth. Ooh, I can't wait. I'm getting way too far ahead of myself with all those conversations, but I would like to hear from you guys. What you think needs to be changed in game number 2, because we do talk about learning and adapting, Fogged, and in between best of 5, that's when it matters. These 15 minutes that these players have had, key moments.
yeah, I think I know IO is an incredibly strong hero at the moment, but I actually think IO might be one of those that you maybe step away from, because TI, I think we've said it ad nauseum, it starts to come down to these big team little plays that you can do. Sure, IO can do those little plays, but ease of execution is a thing too. So I think for PSG LGD, I want to see them go back to their guns, put Xingqiu on his normal heroes where he's going to be able to scale, have a bigger impact than just, I'm a tether, I'm an overcharge, a heal. I want them to diversify and let him also become that kind of carry mode too, because yeah, he's shown how much he can do as.
And when you talk about easy execution, they had like no stuns that game. Disruptor,
Yes.
Glimpse, they would like, try catch this Tide, and then he'd just TP out in front of 4 heroes multiple times. So I think a lot of it is going to come back to the draft, simplify things, pick a few more stuns, and just make your game plan much easier to execute.
I completely agree. Just a little bit more team fight for PSG LGD, and what they really have to get is that late game potential. In the last game, they truly didn't have it. And when you're on a timer, that 20-25 minute mark in which you need to break the enemy and you're under pressure, under emotions, you're bound to make mistakes. So just play it safe, pick a hero that scales well into the late game.
Yeah, I mean, if we take a look back to the first 10 minutes of the previous game we just watched, I mean, both teams were taking it very safe. It was actually a fairly slow start to the game, which, based on draft, we were not really expecting, Gods, because that Naga Siren just had all the freedom in the world.
Yeah, I don't think PSG had a draft that was going to scale late game if they didn't get ahead and play aggressive. Usually it's their style to just go around, run at their opponents, look for these kills. And, when you're playing this Ursa as your carry with a mid Pengalier, you don't have that ability to scale, so they had to be a lot more aggressive there.
They really did. And we know that PSG can recover in a series, so I'm very curious to see what they bring to the table in this game too. Of course, also, this will be something that Silent and Miposhka will have discussed at length, because they know PSG will come up with a new plan as well. So it's, it's one-upping each other constantly in this best of 5. I want to just also quickly remind everyone that it is so phenomenal that we have 9 out of the 10 players on the stage being they're only the first or the second international that they're at.
We're going to have some amazing new talent.
Yeah, are you a little bit jealous, Lizard?
I'm very jealous. I'm super emotional. Watching Team Spirit in particular, because I was in that Eastern Europe Tier 2, Tier 3 teams. This was a dream that for some is happening at the moment. It's becoming reality.
All
I'm
you
also
need
very
to do,
happy.
apparently, is on day 2 or day 3 of the event, you're like, Dota gods, they need to be worshipped. You shave off your head, you donate it, and here you are, grand finals.
There you go.
That's your Toro story right there. In case you're wondering why you look so different from all the pictures that you're seeing, that's the reason. He literally said in an interview, I felt like I needed to sacrifice something to the Dota gods. My hair.
I like how they're doing all these like little things too, where you're saying like I even saw when they won the last game too. Mira's like waving at somebody in the crowd, right? He's just like, hey, yeah, we won, guys, cheer for us. It's like, wait a minute.
I am very sad that this is not an actual crowd, because of course we have the LGD crowds coming in from our sound sweetener, but now Team Spirit doesn't have those crowds, because I know, like, you've probably seen in a lot of different streams that, for example, the Eastern European audience right now, all-time high. Like, they are incredible. They are, of course, big fans of the guy on your screen right now and his whole squad, and they are rooting for them. And if we could hear them in an arena, we would not have been able to hear anything else, Gods.
Every crowd loves an underdog too. Like, wherever you are in the world, this Team Spirit team would have won the hearts of the fans. Wherever you go in the world, there's always a huge amount of supporters for PSG LGD. Obviously a crowd is missed, and, we hope to see it again in future years, but, these two teams still producing amazing Dota with or without a crowd.
Yeah, so what do we want to see in this game too? Like, are there any heroes that we feel like Yatoro still has to play?
I want to see a collapse Mars. You talked about the IO maybe going through. Give us IO collapse Mars.
All right. Well, we are going to find out if we will get a collapse Mars, or what else will he play. We're finding out right now.
Team Spirit versus PSG LGD. Grand Finals, Game 2.
Hello again, welcome to the draft panel, the second game of the Ti10 Grand Finals, again with Seb and Notel. And Team Spirit, they took game 1. But I actually had a question I want to ask you guys. So in the first game, LGD had choice. They took first pick, and Spirit responded with Radiant. In this game, Spirit had choice, but they actually took second pick in LGD responded Radiant. Why do you think that is?
I mean, there's definitely a big Radiant advantage, so no surprise that whoever gets to choose side will choose Radiant. And it does seem that now we have two teams that are gonna keep clashing at each other's, and they're questioning the execution versus the theory, because apparently Team Spirit wants second pick and LGD wants first pick. And I think also the way the draft starts is another case of that. This is the exact same scenario of game one. So this is LGD stating that, hey, there's probably something we could have done better, maybe draft-wise, but our approach to these games is the right one, and we're sticking with it.
Yeah. I always love to see it when you have teams that stick with their guns, and you could say that Team Spirit were maybe really happy with how the choices went down, where they might prefer second pick, or they feel like they're able to punish them really hard, or whatever it is. I think LGD always should be left with okay, now we at least know like this is what they want, and blah blah blah, and this is a best of 5, so this is also them gonna be getting to know each other better. This outcome of this game is going to be super important for how the rest will shape out. LGD, they might feel something if they're winning, or if they're losing, there's always a chance that they keep going back to the same thing. But then, yeah, like this game, we're going to probably see, I'm predicting Team Spirit going for something new again for Yatoro. I think they're feeling themselves a lot and are drafting a lot also on feeling. You also heard Heen talk about that. They're drafting on feeling. And you also see now LGD decided to switch it up, or kind of go away from what happened last game with like lack of AoE, lack of team fight, and they instantly lock in Alesh with the IO to give the IO that.
I want to say that, so Team Spirit, right, they really shook LGD. Like they proved that they can beat them at their own game, and I feel like no team so far in the tournament has done that. And I was kind of sad as a Dota enthusiast. It's like, come on, like if you're going to lift the Aegis, somebody has to, make you kind of work for it. And Team Spirit did that, and it's awesome. And now we're going to see, can LGD show us, the level 2, the level 3, and then it's going to bring even better Dota. What I really love about Team Spirit did, they had the same opener open to them. They could have ET tied again.
Yep.
And, they respect LGD. They respect them so much that they expect them to be ready to punish them for the same draft. So they know, like, you know what? We're not giving you what you think we're going to do. You're going to have to think on the spot. We don't want you to come to this draft with, XIO8, 1 hour of preparation on how to do even better. You have to think on the spot. Bane Magnus. It's beautiful approach. It's mind games between the drafters, and props to Miposhka and Silent for pulling this one out.
Yeah, I think it's amazing. This is like a big mental game. It's always been, it always will be, but it starts here. It starts with the draft, and again, so many statements are being made between the draft, between the two teams on like.
In my opinion, is like last game, LGD, when they play this Wiz, they're very much looking at connecting early with nothing to say. And connecting to a Pangolier that doesn't have the best matchup, it's hard. Pango doesn't really have a way to take over the game. Leshrac, Wisp, that is scary. Leshrac, most of the time, wins it. Power farm, he can, you start accelerating a Leshrac as a Wisp, he might take over the game. And I feel like with the Pangolier, it's not the same.
There's a lot more abuse to be had with the Leshrac. You can get the mana, you can get
Dire team ban.
Protect the mid matchup. You know, Team Spirit can just delay the mid pick for as long as they want to.
Timings where Roshan is threatened, where towers are threatened very early, and Shaker Morph, they need a lot of time. They usually don't come online until 20 something.
So I'll make the case against, so Johan is vouching for Team Spirit. I'm going to try to vouch for LGD for what they have going for them. I think they're one of the best teams in the world, understanding how to make a Leshrac scale also through the Leshrac shard. They have abused that in the online tournaments prior to TI. And now the Shaker plus the Morph plus the Lesh and the shards, like the scaling, you know, the And it's going to add to the global pressure on the map.
Prophet is also one of the quickest heroes. You could say in Dota, you pick this, like you pick an Ench, you pick an Ursa. There might just be a different Dota game coming your way. You might not be allowed to play as slow or as fast as you'd hope because this hero adds so much dimension. And yeah, I think this IO/Prophet, the timings that they can hit before minute 15, they can break this game.
Deflate anything.
I see how both teams can fight. I will still put a lot, like if you take the laning phase aside and let's say that both teams end up with some farm and items, you have this, he's known for his skewer plays right now, and then you also have the Willow Bramble and the Puck. I think both teams can fight.
Yeah, and now we're going to hear from Sumi, who has an interview with Xiaowei about this draft.
Thank you so much, Sumi. And yes, Trent, we are here. They're prepped and ready. A very confident sounding coach for LGD. How are you feeling right now about this matchup?
I don't know. Everyone thought that every other team was going to be ready for Team Spirit the whole way through, right? You know, constantly doubting them, thinking they weren't going to make it, and constantly giving collapse these big heroes that they just discussed, like the Magnus. So we'll see.
Early goings in the group stages, and they haven't looked back once. The thing that I'm really interested to watch for is if they can keep that up. Like, I feel like sometimes when you get in these huge matchups and you go up one game, Team Spirit now there, you can sense the victory coming, and I want to see if they can.
Surely that, you know, that's got to feel like at some point you've got to be thinking like, oh, are we gonna win, guys?
Is this actually gonna happen?
Are we doing this?
It's crazy, but we'll see if it ends up happening here as Mira spots out a couple of those treants that are trying to get a little bit of vision. So
Team seems to have a very clear, we want to do this in 20 minutes. And the other team's like, we just want to hang out and kind of scale.
Oh, Xingqiu gonna have to back out there on the Shaker. And 3 bounty runes again for Team Spirit, just like last game.
I will say, I believe this game that LGD had a very good idea of what was going on. I think they completely saw that puck pick coming. I think they banned around the fact that, like, yeah, that's going to be left in. We're okay with that. It's a go-to hero versus the Morphling. I wouldn't say they're really surprised. Charles Tokyo, obviously an amazing player, but, you know, the puck not exactly one of the ones that's been, you know, popping off the rampages here for Team Spirit.
True enough.
Those spirits tend to scale just like a little bit more, and you kind of lack that a bit on the puck.
It'll be something to watch for, though, if he can make those good rotations, as obviously the Nature's Prophet on Faith Beyond can also move into multiple different lanes. So we'll keep our eyes on it. And like you said, I think both drafts have like a very clear identity behind them, right? You got this Magnus that's going to start off the fights occasionally after the puck comes in. You've got the Morph Shaker as a potential danger later on, but it is of course going to be played on that support Shaker this time. So we'll see if you can get into the items at the same timing we've seen for the cores.
Yeah, it certainly seemed like PSG LGD were very much ready for that, right? The Dark Willow came out, and then right away they're just like, yeah. We saw that earlier. We know, you want the Morph and the Willow. We're taking the Morph and the Shaker. salve in that top lane now. So if there's any chance here for LGD to score a kill, it might be sooner rather than later.
Too true. Gotta look for that opening. Down bottom.
Really trying to pressure too. They keep pump faking this Fissure up top.
Yeah. I mean, if you catch him on the wrong side of it, it's going to be a ton of damage out with those treants. But even without it, right? Just the one Fissure and a couple punches from Faith Beyond, he hits really hard. They will be bringing over that courier now. Miposhka needs to make sure this one does not get sniped by XingQ.
Hopefully you're not losing it to a Shaker.
Yeah, true enough.
But this bottom lane, lots of harass being spammed out here from Mira and Collapse as well. But it's a Morphling, it's an IO. Morphling in itself a very frustrating hero to lane versus due to the regen mechanics and the ability to morph strength and agi, but comboed up with an IO. It's pretty rough trying to get a kill, but you know, more players, they tend to go for some of these overextensions, so maybe he'll get a bit greedy there.
Right, and even, you know, just the pressuring and forcing him to switch over attribute shift, it makes it a little bit harder for the morph to last hit. So it's not all bad, as XingQ is going to make that big move over underneath the ward and going to steal away the small camp. How many does he get? Not a ton, but nothing to say. Able to sneak a few as well.
All right, interesting stuff there. It does sacrifice the top water room potential there. Oh, I say that, actually. Miposhka
moves in. Toronto Tokyo going to be able to pick up this water rune and maybe get some extra pressure onto XingQ. Jumps forward, and there's the first blood. Toronto Tokyo draws it.
Oh, well done by Miposhka. Like, not even just, he basically baited out that rune, right? XingQ coming a little bit too close, get the first blood for Team Spirit, and they're off to a hot start in game 2 after already surprising pretty much everyone by going up one game. I mean, I agree, I thought their draft was better last game, but you know, we just keep wondering, like, how long will the magic last with this team?
It does seem like just an unbelievably improbable run. To think that this team came all the way through in the qualifiers, we're down 2-1 in that series against Empire, and now up one game against the, you know, odds-on favorites.
Oh,
This Collapse, Skewer, pull back. They do some good damage there on Ame. But he will not be under too much pressure of losing his life. He's going to get the deny. A little cheeky there. I like to see it from the morph.
That's a morph player. That's what that is right there. And, you know, nothing to say. Maybe not a Pango player. I have some theories, guys. I mean, that was his, as far as I could find, mind you, I looked pretty quickly. That was his second professional Pango match.
Yeah.
Now, they played a lot of Pango when he wasn't available to play for PSG LGD. And, of course, Coach Xiao or Chaba stepping in, playing a masterful Pango. You know, he did really well, and we've had this discussion of like how he sort of controls the macro game to help these players so they can think more about their own heroes and their own item builds, and they have a clear identity of like what I'm supposed to do in this game. But if you're not experienced on the hero, that formula doesn't work so well.
True enough.
But he's got a less draft now. Much better hero for nothing to say.
Very comfortable. Comfy time for nothing to say. And so far, he's
aggressive. Will only catch a sentry though. No obs taken away there. So we heard a lot of discussion actually last game from Insania talking about like the power runes and the strength you're going to have from that right here, and especially for a Puck, a hero that's really capable of trying to abuse that, because you want to be making these early rotations with the Dream Coil. And it looks like not going to secure another kill there.
Yeah, I think it's an important point to make, is that you've got to watch so carefully on any of these other side lanes. If LGD overstep, they get a little bit close to a tower, Puck could easily make that rotation and kill off a couple.
Oh, Miposhka gets spotted on the way out here. So did Sentry on the pillar, was kind of checking around, finding some wards, and then putting obs down by the Ancients. And there is a Sentry here on XingQ, so this could be pretty painful.
Oh,
he's got it, right?
All right, they see it. That was right on the edge.
That's a huge D ward. That was a lot of time spent from Miposhka.
And at the same time, LGD gonna move in and head up top. Why and nothing to say together. Are they gonna try and make a kill here onto the Luna a little bit far out? And we'll see if they can connect with this one, but
this is a tower kill gank.
Yeah.
They're ganking that tower. It's not moving. They don't have to worry about it. Luna, she's kind of fast, you know. She's got some night vision, maxed out Lunar Blessing. But the tower, it doesn't move.
True enough. They're going to move in and
Next
take this
hero,
one down.
Marcy. Can she just throw the tower somewhere?
It's a possibility.
Dyer's
Dare to
top
dream.
tower is under attack.
Okay, that went down
Dyer's
really
top
fast.
tower has
Yeah, this
fallen.
is a problem potentially. The early group up right there and the fact that you can't really contest it at all. Yadoro heads back into the jungle to farm up his medium camp.
Look at Maposhka. He actually got spotted there. He did step in vision for a moment. And a correctly drawn line here from Y, I believe, is to his current path.
But they did get down that ward. We'll see if that one gets taken away by LGD. As down bottom,
Radiant's middle
able to
tower
go
is
for the
under
RP
attack.
now. Connect.
Yeah, for Y, despite being a 5 player, he actually gets often categorized by and this time, you know, at least they got a favorable trade. They took a tower after that, which I think was part of the plan for PSG LGD, but they were able to zone back on that bottom tower, shove the wave back out, and now even Collapse running in behind the tower, checking for a courier and everything down here. They're not willing to just, like, you know, give you the, like, take the kill and then just give you the tower. They're able to defend after as well.
Right. Oh,
okay, but now that pressure is coming mid.
Mira. They're going to get onto the Brambles. Thought about that RP, but calls it off afterwards. And again, nothing to say in the mid lane. Starting to push down this tier 1 tower with Xingqiu in tow. And why? They'll get it. It's so interesting to me, right? Because you think about traditionally what people think of these styles of play, and Team Spirit definitely going the more farming route in this one. You saw there for a second the last hits that Yatoro has. 135 compared to the 69 of Ahmed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they're actually spotted out here, but they're not going to have anything in time to catch. But that also comes back to just the idea of punishing that Dream Coil, right? It was used. You killed me. All right, congratulations. But I'm a Leshrac. I don't have any cooldowns. When I respawn, I'm coming right back. I'm taking that tower. But as you said, to the timings, like PSG LGD, Y had said before, like, we love picking for scale. We like to be very balanced. We're comfortable going late because we think we make better decisions at that point in the game. And even though this is a pretty fast lineup from PSG LGD, it does have some late game tools, right? The Morph Shaker, of course, if you get to that, can really go against anything at this point. look in this game. They could take it relatively early, right? You get an early DD with this lineup with Nature's Prophet and Morphling. They might opt for it.
And look at this movement in before the blink dagger on Shaker. Oh, Nightmare by Maposhka to dodge the stun, but Yaro is still in some trouble as they run him down. It was good, but it wasn't good enough.
Toronto Tokyo's coming, but they are too tanky. I mean, you see these stacked up heroes, maybe you're sort of thinking about going in for the Dream Coil, but it's a bit too much. They're just so tanky right now.
And instead, they try and find a pick off here. Nothing to say. The rest of his friends a little ways away. XinQ making the move over. They're going to get the Terrorite. That's going to get the Tether Snap. And afterwards, the ulti coming from Willow, but nothing is taking the regen from Y. Keeping his core player alive.
With the wand, with the IO, this early hood into the Eternal Shroud as well. They're going to have some issues bringing down this Leshrac without the Luna being there.
Yeah, I mean, you just get blown up like that. I mean, obviously a great Nightmare dodge of the stun that came in, but in the end, you need to get that BKB online, as we've seen time and again, and Yaro trying to get towards it now. As LGD starting to cut a little bit into this lead here. And also getting a little... Seeing if it can continue on here in this game number 2. The BKB is done. Taking a look at a few of these other items around the map. Collapse has that blink done. XinQ getting closer to his, has it completed as well now. So all of the big fighting items online.
That's a bit frightening. It feels so good because, like, obviously as the offlaner, you got to get these like earlier items. You got a bracer, got a mech, and then you get your blink dagger. When you're playing as a support, you just got that one thing you're striving for, and it's kind of unfortunate when they match up like that because, like, now it feels like your offlaner can actually play. But XinQ, like, this is an excellent counter initiation to have right now with the way that their lineup's kind of set up. Like, he can just lurk for so long. He can just wait on the side, and what kind of vision is going to catch him, right? Maybe an orb. Maybe you can take a fight at night like this and have the advantageous vision.
Oh, but the Steward immediately on nothing to say, but he's going to live through that. Nice jump out there. XinQ saving the day even under that ward.
I mean, they have Relocate, they have Fisher.
Yeah, they were super ready.
That is a tough one, but at least the Relocate gets burnt, right?
Yeah.
So that is something for them, but immediately into the Roche.
Oh, and LGD gonna make a bit of a sneaky play here. Did Team Spirit know that this is going on?
Where's your DD, guys?
They're gonna have to push. I mean,
Team Spirit, but patience, you know, that's not something they're very well known for.
Oh, scary. Invis. And then the smoke up afterwards. Team Spirit looking on the hunt. But LGD, sensing danger coming their way, will retreat out. Just
is he gonna horn toss him again, Lyrical? Don't tell me he's gonna horn toss him again.
Oh my god, he got him again, Trent! They did it to him! As they
Has fallen.
They're just having fun. That's what they say, right? They look like they're having fun.
They do.
Well, Poshka looks like he's having fun. For someone who's playing Bane, that's as much fun as your face gets, I think. You know?
They're on top of it, killing it. And we'll see now if LGD can pull this back. I mean, again, we've talked so much about the effect that pressure has in this lineup. In a lot of ways built to try and just win the Aegis. Not a whole lot else is going to be acceptable for them and the sort of standards that they set for themselves. 5 to 8.
I love how you see the sentry they put outside the base too, because I had the same thought. I'm just like, where was that ward? Like, how did this Magnus do that? You know, and just nothing. It just collapsed. It's just too. He just feels it. He just goes. At the very least, yeah, it's a lot of sentries.
They're all over the place.
And, you know, that's because they also have the gem, I believe, still, on Toronto, Tokyo. So they know that they're in trouble when it comes to the vision game. And so you get into this place where you're just kind of spamming them everywhere. And you know, you heard our lovely draft panel, as well as Insania, talking about like the sustain and everything. And Insania pointed out just like how much more valuable that healing is on the earlier end, right? You know,
yes.
About trying to get as many of these mechs and these holy lockets as early as you can in the game. You know, you have to spend on sentries. That can be a bit tough, but at the same time, you have a Shaker on your team, so you're making a sacrifice in terms of the gold to ensure that Blink Dagger is going to be there. Unfortunately, they haven't really gotten much out of the Shaker. A couple nice saves, but Xinq's still waiting for his big moment.
And it's tough, right? Because you have to sort of go in and make that chaos happen first with the rest of the heroes on LGD, and specifically Nothing to Say. And he's built all these items to try and stay alive. The Eternal Shroud, going for the Halberd, now into the Plate Mail. And it has just not been able to be enough to keep him alive against the big plays from Collapse. MVP in this game too.
And now, it's nighttime once again. So what do? We smoke. You got night vision, right? You have the advantage there. They're going to have to rely on the treants from Faith Beyond if they want to scout some of these plays out. That is the vision that they have at night. But the edge certainly belongs to Team Spirit.
Absolutely. As they move up onto the high ground, Xinq feels like he's safe, but they drop down the ward right away. Xinq manages to get out of there, has that shard to create that separation. But again, a ward dewarded and taken away vision from LGD.
They're just going to do the sweeping motion here, right? They actually scanned ahead to see if he could blink in there. He's checking the high ground. Collapse wants this so bad.
He's ready. He feels the moment, dude. He is so on top of it. Waiting for the vision.
Nothing to say, he's going so far back. He's like, no.
He knows. Fool me. Oh my god, that was close. Fissure afterwards. They're sensing it. And they back out of their time.
He is feeling it today.
Came close there.
I mean, that's what's so cool about the spell, though, is that you can just fish.
Yeah.
You know? Sometimes you're not going to catch anything. Sometimes you get yourselves the big old whale.
You know what's also so interesting about this? Like, those two outposts are still held by LGD. They're keeping so much pressure on the map by LGD, and Team Spirit, it doesn't look like they're that interested in trying to take it back. They're just looking for those kills now.
Yeah, and unfortunately for them, it's going to be a very long Roche spawn, because that's kind of what they're playing for right now for Team Spirit, right? It's just like, we don't want to rush anything. We just need one more good fight. We're going to clear this entire base with our Luna. And we want the Roche for that. So they're going to be trying to control around the pit. Someone's going to sit in there. They're going to wait. They're going to be very disappointed for 2 minutes and 20 seconds.
There you go.
And that's just time for PSG LGD. So what can we stall for here is the question. Shiva's coming out relatively soon for Nothing to Say, but the Aghanim's, that's what we're stalling for. So whenever you get in trouble as a Morphling, you look to say, how good is my next game, is it? And it's like, oh yeah, right, we picked Morph Shaker. So we do have that going.
That's going to be the big window that they're looking for. Only 2 points in Enchant Totem right now for that Shaker. But can still be devastating with all the lockdown that you get.
Now, interesting things that we're going to have to watch during that, though, will be the fact that it's the Aeon Disc on a puck, right? So they're going to be looking to catch and chain and even just try and like go through that stats resist as well as actually active on Toronto Tokyo and just trying to like keep chaining him down. So he's not going to have the BKB.
Middle tower is
And then
under
after that, we
attack.
also know that Collapse, he really likes these kind of cheeky items, right? He doesn't like BKB. See the plays this guy's making?
There's the Aeon Disc out. Toronto Tokyo not concerned, just blinks away after the Aeon Disc is procced. And also getting that D ward again.
So the question will be, when they come high ground, will you find this big Morph Shaker play? Are you going to catch these heroes without the immunity that they need to survive what is obviously a pretty terrifying duo of heroes?
Faith Beyond shows for a second. Collapse, looks for an opening.
Bottom tower is under attack.
There's an opening, the horn toss, the pullback with Skewer, and immediately gets the kill. Nothing is free, not even pushing out a wave.
That's the kind of punish that you need. I mean, they felt pretty free on this map, right? Because they are moving around as a single unit for Team Spirit, right? And that's why we're spotting some of these heroes just like Faith Beyond's randomly in a spot, pushing on a wave, nothing to say. That's why they were able to control the outposts for so much longer than you might expect, considering the situation that Team Spirit was in. But the punishes are free, and so they will go back once more for a disappointing look inside the Roche pit, and then wait another 30 seconds, and then they'll go back and do it again.
But look at this. They have that Aghanim Scepter done on the Morph lane now. Puck also just finishing an Aghanim Scepter and has an Arcane Rune bottled.
They're like sending in Wipers. Just these slow movements in. Ready to tether back off. Sentry is going to catch both.
They have vision right away.
They know they're there.
Collapse. Oh, he doesn't go for it.
We've seen them go into these trees so many times.
Collapse.
I would not be surprised.
He's thinking about it. Xingqiu is back there.
Oh, they're just baiting out.
Yeah, they're waiting on it. And Faith Beyond, in the meantime, farming on the other side.
The Radiant, they scanned that pit there to no success. They're going to send in the Treants, though. So, PSG LGD, they're in the know. They've got the Morphling, with the Aghanims, with the Shaker, and a team that really wants the Roche. They have a plan.
This could be LGD's comeback here. Can they make it happen, though?
And how long can you sort of like control and force the focus of Team Spirit to be here, and what are you gaining on the rest of the map? I mean, again, they're fanning out a bit here, and you have the global teleportation up at 10 seconds for Faith Beyond. Yeah, you have Ame just farming the Dire Ancients right now, so...
Are they going to give up this
There go the
Roche?
Treants. I mean, they know they're in there right now. I highly doubt they just give this up for free.
Gadaros is still inside here. They're moving over now. Faith Beyond getting some Treants out.
So, I mean, they know they're in there. They've sent in the Treants, but again, how do you get that initiate when, you're so reliant on, you'd rather just fight on the high ground at this point.
All right, well, LGD give that one up. We'll see if that comes back to haunt them later, as Mira is going to push out this lane up top. Faith Beyond very close, and they're going to have to deal with their lanes, because this is one thing that's definitely beneficial for LGD is their split push potential. Faith Beyond, BKB with that Orchid. Xingqiu shows up. Gadoro up on the high ground. Nothing to say there as well. They have great vision on Team Spirit, and now showing in the lane. They're thinking about going. They pull him back in, and he is done. Can they go for any more now? They have full control onto the Luna, but Luna just walks away.
Dire's middle tower is under
Living
attack.
yet again.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he's thinking about, like, is there a buyback play there? Because that's a pretty bold sentry to place down.
On just like that, Team Spirit with Aegis in hand. Faith Beyond could maybe go for a play there, but Toronto Tokyo not showing himself, has the boots of travel to join with the rest of the team.
Right? They had the ward near the base. They actually saw that Ame was moving over here.
Oh, man. This would be such a huge pickup if they can get him.
The spider legs.
Walking in, they get him with the horn toss, chasing down for more. Ame's done. Team Spirit, everywhere they go, people die.
It's the ward game, Just spots them heading over there. That ward near the base. Lets them know. They chase it down. And now they go up. Will they leave is the real question. There is a glyph available for the Radiant.
True enough. They walk up high ground, and Gadoro going to start beating away, laying claim to this area. In the meantime, Faith Beyond's going to try and push up that top side, but they catch him right away with the glyph. Collapse, pulls him back in, breaks the coil. Team Spirit Spirit, they're just playing too clean today. LGD need more. They don't have buyback on this Morphling. They can't get 2 racks at the very least on the side of Spirit, but I mean,
do you need 2 racks?
I don't know. That's a good question. Well, maybe Faithbeyond is actually starting to take this one down. Now the jump in. There's the BKB. Faithbeyond still has that Orchid available, but the turn off to the side. Oh, great Orchid to interrupt, and that will be enough to get him out.
That was really well done with the BKB TV. It's like there's one answer, right?
Yeah.
Finds in there with the Orchid, so well done indeed. He will at least take a tier 3, so that's something, but of course there's still lots of time. You know, 2.5 minutes for a Luna to just run back to your base. She's pretty fast.
You're not wrong about that one, and can start pressuring down these other towers. There's no more Glyph either. The Team Spirit want to make another run at this with the Aegis. They're just so far ahead already. 10k gold. It does not look particularly close.
Yeah, the boots are traveling there from Toronto, Tokyo, so he's just able to push out this bottom lane. He can be there in a flash too, trying to match some of this global capability that's there from PSG LGD, but they're still waiting for their shining moment of Morph Shaker. They are in this game, believe it or not.
Just haven't had an opening. Satanic now done too for the Luna.
Couriers just flying in everywhere, dropping off all these new items to Team Spirit.
I mean, Yaro's almost 10k gold up on the next hero on the enemy team. LGD just don't have an answer for this Luna, particularly with the Aegis. And it looks so free for him.
That is pretty huge, actually. Scotty and the Morphling versus this Luna.
And again,
Satanic.
I mean, it's looked so one-sided partially because LGD haven't taken that fight yet, right? Like, and there's still going to be that window when they have the, you know, Ag Shaker and can go in all at once together. It's just they're waiting for that perfect fight. Still have to be careful of that one on Team Spirit. And with this Aegis, you would have to imagine it would come soon.
I'll clap. You know, I think he wants his perfect game here. He's the only one who hasn't died so far on Team Spirit.
Absolutely carrying out of that off lane.
No kills, too. So giving, you know? Such a charitable offlaner.
That's the way it's supposed to be, absolutely. Ooh, also, Aether Lens for the extra range. So much range on absolutely everything in this game for him. But they're going to get set up again. Morphling sending in the courier. This one might get scouted here, and
oh, it's on the way out.
Nice. With the lucid beam.
Yeah, using the lucid beam and
well
the shard.
played. That was that the Scotty? Oh
yeah,
God,
it was.
killing that Scotty.
Almost 3 minutes of no Scotty, but you know, it's okay. You know, LGD, they don't actually see enemy heroes. They just see enemy creep waves. Right? That's the goal right now.
Okay.
The creeps are the true enemy. So that's why Faithbeyond, you know, he's not up top where the heroes are. He's down bottom where the creeps are. Just keep pushing them out. Keep them away from your base.
Try and extend this as long as possible and then force Team Spirit into a bad position. And, you know, in the last couple of minutes, they caught up in terms of net worth.
You know, you look at this more. He just keeps climbing.
Will it be enough, though? They can make the most of this, dodge fights, and then possibly get another fight around that next Aegis. That might be their window with the BKB on Ame.
I think what's very impressive from Team Spirit is how long they have just kept this single like ball rolling around together, and they're not panicking. Because a lot of teams, it gets to this point where like it feels like you've been running around for so long, and like now the Aegis is gone, so people said like they fan out a bit and they farm, right?
Yeah.
Morph Shaker will punish that with relocate, you know, with a Nature's Prophet. They will find you. They will kill you if you try and go out on your own.
But with all the lanes pushed out now, Team Spirit, without that Aegis, still going to walk up and hit this a couple of times. You have 3,200 HP on Yaro as well as the butterfly done.
And they have this ward on the high ground. You don't know about.
Collapse.
They have collapse.
So often he's been the one to make those big plays. They're continuing to push in the bottom lane. LGD hoping for an overreaction from Team Spirit as they walk up, start to hit these racks, but likewise, bottom lane is being pushed in.
They've morphed in as well, actually. He's fully committed to the shaker.
Terrorize afterwards, caught with the fear and the horn toss to pull back. They got nothing to say.
He's so far away.
They don't have a way to get to him. He is going to die here as they get the Fiend's grip off and the eventual right click down to death.
Oh, Toronto Tokyo in the back.
Chase.
He caught one on the way in,
Gets
too.
one! On to ZQ, he's in trouble now as well. They find themselves another pickoff potentially here. ZQ, nothing else left in the tank, falls down.
That's a nice play. Very heads up there from Toronto Tokyo, just not letting him just get away with offering up the sacrifice of the Lesh rack, you know, not just the goat. We're gonna take what is shaker? Cow?
There you go.
We'll take that too. Yeah.
They're keeping these lanes pushed out. And this is the only thing. We've seen a couple of teams, you think back to that Quincy Crew game, they were able to keep the lanes shoved in constantly and eventually win with an all-in push. And that might have to be what we see from LGD as well. Maybe a relocate play with Morphling or something like that. Because right now,
do not say that. I won't allow it.
You won't
allow it. Not some DD relocate Morphling.
There's a chance. There's potentially a way. You got to be careful of your Team Spirit. With this global potential that they have on LGD, anything could happen.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
The last outer tower now gone. PSG LGD.
It's beyond AC done. And Team Spirit starting to sense Roche going to be back up. 10 seconds. And with that, it could be the window to close this game out for Team Spirit.
All right, refresher or eggs? What are we getting?
I'm down for either. As it will respawn right now.
Get the eggs.
Interesting. Smoke up though. LGD. Is this finally the fight that they feel comfortable with? They have been sitting on this Ag Shaker for so long. Or Ag's Morphling rather, with the Shaker. BKB now done to boot.
Yeah, that's a good point though. Maybe they get ZinQ and eggs here. Yeah, that would be kind of nice.
You can see Team Spirit not comfortable just hitting away in the Roche pit. Nothing to say, walks in. Yadaro up front and center.
Jeez.
Nothing to say, they jump in. There's the control, the damage out. Mapochka's dead, buys back immediately. Yadaro turns to fight, destroys, nothing to say. They've got him, caught to the side. Ame in some trouble, hitting from the low ground. How many misses are there? It doesn't matter as they chase him down and kill him off. A great win for Team Spirit as they will find more and more. Unbelievable.
Oh, the chase continues.
Yaro just chases him down, and Echo afterwards trying to buy a little bit of space. Nothing to say, but can he'll collapse? Trying to take him down, but no, it won't happen. Side Toronto Tokyo will fall with the big stun afterwards. Yaro moving in. He's big, he's bad, he's Luna trying to kill him off. The fear, the pullback, collapse, he's got him. ZQ looking dead as well as they turn and hit. Another one bites the dust, but they buy back now on ZQ. Faith Beyond getting absolutely shredded. Yadaro is too big as they catch him in again. The pushback, they got him caught and gonna maybe find the kill. Nothing to say, down low, dead. Another huge win, Team Spirit. They won't be denied. The Horde Toss catches onto ZQ and Yadaro just slaughter.
The way they play these fights, they're so in sync with one another. GG is called. They call it a Cinderella story. Well, if the shoe fits, wear it.
Unreal. And we got a crowd up there. Alan, very excited for this young team's present. They have been absolutely dominant in this one. 2-0.
It's not just the fact that they won 2 games. Just blocked it out.
Unbelievable showing here. The patience, the calm, cool collectedness, and now 1 game away from being able to raise that Aegis. Unreal. Very socially distanced crowd. You love to see it from them as well. So we get ready to go into this game number 3, but the man behind it all, Mapochka right there, captain, and keeping everybody with a cool head.
Yeah, well, the man behind PSG LGD. What are the options now?
I don't know.
You know, you came in, you were the favorites. Everyone expected you to be the ones up 2-0 at this point, you know, for Team Spirit to be digging deep. He's got to come up with these plans. He's been challenged now twice. He's lost said challenge. What is up for game 3?
We'll have to see as we head back to the panel.
Thank you very much, Trent and Lyrical. Yeah, this game started with us talking to Zhao 8, who said regarding the Magnus pick on the side of Team Spirit, It is all in our plans. And gentlemen, the plan didn't work, Tico.
I mean, so first of all, PSG, they're very aggressive early on. They're taking top tower, taking mid tower, trying to go for bot. And then you see how Spirit, they kind of shift away from that aggression. They get up some aggressive wards. Again, Maposhka, MVP in all of these games just because of his vision. They then just turn it up, right? They get this shard of Magnus, and they're just going fishing. As soon as they see someone, whoop, come on over. We got a pot coil, we got a bramble maze on the Willow to go for, we got an Eclipse, we got an overfarm Luna. Yeah, again, I'm looking forward to seeing how they're gonna nerf Toffs after this. Like, it's insane.
Well, how are you gonna nerf Collapse? I think that is a little bit more short term, because that is something, Synderen, that I think PSG LGD is gonna look to.
Yeah, I think so, honestly, the most important way that that Spirit are winning the games right now is on vision. So a really big part, it looks amazing when you hit all these horn tosses, but the reason Collapse is finding them is that they find themselves in good position where they have better vision. And I think a really key part of that strategy is the Luna pick for the night vision. So, you know, I think what PSG LGD were thinking when they said they had a plan for this, you look at their draft, right? They have the relocate away from Horn Toss. They have a hero like Morphling who's really hard to kill in it. They have a really long-range stun from the Shaker. So they have potential ideas that could work against this. The problem is you can't be ready all the time. Like, you have an idea of where the enemy might be seeing you, but every time you're caught off guard, you get that snap pick, and they just keep building and building and building. So my suggestion going into game number 3 is I think you have to ban Magnus, and then aside from that, I think, you know, options are open, or you need to set up the draft like you did in game 1, where Magnus was actually ignored in the first phase because of the way the picks went down in that order.
Yeah, let's talk about the start of this game, Tsunami, because it felt a little bit like a repeat of the start of game 1.
Especially because it was another IO draft. Granted, it was a much more different approach to IO, but the dynamic was still quite similar. And I think the cheap initiation, both literally and figuratively, has been very, very popular over the past 6 months. We saw, like, Beastmaster's Aghanim Scepter being like, I don't need to commit to a fight. I can just toss axes from miles away. Ember Spirit has emerged to be the most popular of the spirits as of the past few months, just because if I get a slight chains, great. Otherwise, I don't really need to go in. And now we're seeing the prevalence of Horn Toss, where it's like, I'll fish for a skewer. If I don't get it, I'm already going back to my base anyway. So I think, like Sin said, if you don't think that you can get vision superiority, you're not going to beat Spirit.
No, and they didn't beat Spirit in this game too, T-Gov. I want to talk about the Shaker Morph combo because that was something that we saw PSG LGD go for, and we thought, okay, you know what, they got a set draft, this is what it's supposed to do, but it didn't do what it was supposed to do.
That Fury, and like, they picked off the puck at this tier 2 siege top. Like, it looked pretty good, but it's the fact that Spirit are able to kind of shift away that kind of map movement, and they're over farming on their heroes. Like, a very small thing, and probably wasn't really noticeable, but Yotaro, like, after fights, there was like double waves coming into him. He wasn't even farming the lane. He'd go to the jungle, allow other heroes to take that farm. And it's because you have even distribution of farm to some degree, you're able to continue taking fights every single item timing. You're not waiting an extra 2-3 minutes for the Willer to get a vessel, or, you know, the Bane to get, you know, a 4-star, whatever. It's the idea that you are being ready at all times. So it doesn't matter if you're playing against Morph Shaker, because you're going to have that 1-2 item advantage the entire game.
And the key thing for the key component for Morph Shaker is similarly, it's vision. It's about seeing the enemy team first, so you can get that fissure combination. If you, in all of these like OS Frog moments we've had in the past, we're like, man, this shit is so broken, you know? It's like out of the fog comes one fissure, then the other fissure. It's like X marks the spot, and they both jump in and kill someone. The problem is, I think we saw that like literally one fight in this game after they got it. Because every time it was Team Spirit that got the initiation. So, I mean, hats off to them. I'm honestly just super impressed. I was one of the non-believers, I'll admit it, going into this finals. I thought, okay, this LGD have looked so dominant. Even though Team Spirit are catching steam here and are looking really good, I still think they're going to falter. And at this point, LGD need to pull an IG from, which major was that? Against EG, the reverse sweep, Singapore major.
They need a question mark.
Yeah, they need a question mark.
They need something. They need something. I like that you said, you know, honestly, I'm really impressed. I know that, you know, you got the Purge voice line going. And speaking of Purge, we're going to him right now because he has more on Team Spirit.
Thanks, guys. You heard from Toonami before about LGD's strengths right now, but let's take a look at what Spirit's doing. One of their big advantages right now is how versatile Yutaro is playing as a carry. And if you can pull out these really effective tools in the right games, it gives you a big advantage in the mid and late game. In this first match of the series so far, Naga Siren with the fast Ags after the Manta gave them great tools against these highly mobile heroes on the PSG side. Very useful against Pango to limit his rolling boulder. You can use it against Ursa to break Enrage. You can send your illusions on Ursa to force him just to retreat, not to engage. And these are some of the tricks that Spirit's used so far throughout the entire tournament, actually, to just break matches. In the previous match that they played against IG, they also had a big advantage too. It wasn't necessarily from, well, it was actually for some weird hero picks here. They grabbed a PA to give them AoE break against the Tide. So in this match, they also used kind of a cool combo that nobody really expected to just punish the enemy lineup. But what was still really obvious, and has been the case for every single Spirit lineup, is that they play so well together as a team. They cover each other's weaknesses, they follow up on each other perfectly. It's like their mind melded together, and that is the reason that they're currently 2 up in the grand finals here of Ti10.
Yeah, it is honestly incredibly impressive. They're on the side of Team Spirit. They're 1 game away from taking this championship. There's 4 first-timers in their squad, 1 second-timer in Maposhka in their squad. And of course, Silent's got a lot of experience. This is his 5th international, but his first as a coach. So there's that as well. And this team is just on the verge of winning. And I want to talk about that because mind games, a big thing in the TI finals. And we talk about the mind games regarding the money. I think the amount of pressure that PSG LGD is under, last TI that is won by a Chinese squad was TI6. And before that, it was all like 1 TI for the side of China, 1 TI, not China, etc., etc., etc. But until TI6, and since then, there's not been a Chinese teams winning it. And there's so much pressure coming on these players, on their backs, because they were supposed to be the champions, Toonami.
A consistent theme of all of the exit interviews that we've seen from the Chinese teams is a great deal of national pride.
Yes.
They don't feel like they themselves are like, oh, we lost, we'll come back stronger next time. They're like, I have failed to represent our region in terms of Dota superiority, because even if they don't make it to grand finals, they have let another region beat them, and they have somehow created more competition now for LGD. Whereas Team Spirit, on the other hand, every single interview I've seen from them, they're just like, yo, I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah, I don't know what game we're playing. I just play a game of Dota that we happen to be on the States, Synerin, that we happen to be playing for extra $13 million. By the way, they don't care, or they don't seem to care.
Yeah,
it's not getting in their head.
I do think it's a pretty key point as well, because as much praise as we're giving Spirit here, and they deserve all of it, I also don't think LGD have fully showed up today. I think some of their moves, they're a little bit hesitant, they're a little less hungry. It seems like there are some nerves, and it's kind of unbelievable when you think about it, because the rest of the tournament, they have looked unstoppable. They've had games where they were super far down, they make the right moves, they win. And perhaps it's always easier to look weak against a team that's playing out of their minds, but it's like there's always a little bit of both, right? So I think for me going into the next game for LGD, Xiao8 actually plays the most important role in the next game, even though he's not even playing, because the team needs to get into the right mind space. They need to get the belief that they can win, and then I think the adjustment they need is that draft. I like the IO suggestion. Try something else, right? It bombed out 2 games now. You're playing against a team that clearly knows what to do about it, so you can still come back. But
what are your first phase bans, though? Are you still going to do Mag Mars? Because I think you have to target Collapse.
Again, the key thing here is the fact that I believe PSG had the choice of going for first or second pick, right? And they themselves put them in the position of allowing Spirit to ban out the Tiny and the Monkey, forcing themselves to either ban the IO themselves or pick it, right? So in this position, it does feel like you'd like to see something different from PSG. The IO hasn't really worked out. Just add some more stuns, add that ability to break down the map a little bit better, and then they should be in a good stead. And going back to the point of PSG and the expectation, you think about Spirit and how they got here. They just played the lower bracket game, right? They're 1 game down, they win game 2, they win game 3. Like that momentum, that is so hard to attain, in any competition, right? So that is very much why they're feeling confident. And of course, you do have the head kissing versus the belly rubs, and therefore head kissing is 2 up right now.
All right, gentlemen, here they come. It is time very soon. We'll see game 3 of this grand finals. And this 3rd game could potentially be the last. Right now, Team Spirit is up 2-0, and it has only happened once before that a team was able to 3-0 their opponent in a grand finals. PSG LGD, we know they have it in them to force out that game 4, but we need them to believe in themselves and in their draft as well. We know also that they can do it. Faith Beyond and Y both have already got a TI win under their belts. They won TI6 with wins. We have seen Ame being in a grand finals. TI8, of course, that was one of the closest grand finals we have had, and unfortunately Ame wasn't able to take it, but it came very close, and we knew that the pressure there might have been a little bit too much, but we know that he can do better than what he is showing right now, Tigo.
Yeah, it's just so difficult, right? Like when you're 2-0 down, this is really where you need to kind of just come together. And even if, like you say, one person hasn't been standing up or the team hasn't been performing to their best potential, they just need to rally around what they've been doing well to get to this point, right? Like they're in the grand finals, they've clearly been doing something right. So this is where you just need to kind of break that off, reset, go again, treat it like it's the
think about that you're 2 games down. Just play a game of Dota, Tsunami. How hard is it?
But the problem is they've just now lost as many games in this grand finals as they have throughout the entire tournament.
True.
I don't know if they're used to losing. They have having to repair is a challenge, and Spirit has had to repair on their journey here. And having that lower bracket run coming into the past 2 days, playing 2 series means that in their second series they're already warmed up. LGD was sitting here waiting for the secret series to finish. They have not had to be on the back foot and be like, oh my gosh, okay, we gotta change our dynamic. I have no doubts that Xiaoba Xiao8 would be able to deal with that, but it needs to come now or you're gonna lose.
Isn't it kind of crazy to think about that no matter what the score is in this grand finals, LGD has a better win rate at this tournament than Spirit?
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
by far. Like, it's not even close.
No, it's not.
Even if they 3-0, their win rate is still way worse. So that's what finals are about. Like, it's the final game. Have you got it when it matters the most so far? Spirit definitely do. Yeah, for me, I'm just super excited to see the draft because I think this third game is very telling about the mentality. When you're kind of broken like this, when you're down 0-2, there's like 2 approaches to take. There's the crazy approach where you just throw everything out the window, you do something completely different. And there's the one where you're like stubborn to the, like almost to the limit, right? Where you're like, no, we can still win with this damn IO. We're going to try the 3rd time in a row and we're going to adjust some of the bans. So I'm really curious. And I honestly, depending on your perspective on it, I think I can see both approaches as a sign of strength and a sign of weakness.
True.
So it's kind of hard to just say out of the first 2, but I really, really, really want to see what they're thinking right now.
But do you want to be the team that potentially loses 3-0 in the grand finals to the underdog, just going IO every single time, not really changing it up?
I think that's something you kind of have to nod in your head, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna have to shut that out. As repetitive as it sounds, you got to treat this game as a fresh game, a standalone game, not having the pressure of $13 extra million on your head, not having the pressure of an entire region on your head, and not having the pressure of Coach Xiao8 on your head, and everything that comes with winning the international. And you just gotta play a game of Dota, play a pub. And you know what? Nothing to say. He's been playing so many pubs. He is the world ranked 1 player. I feel like we haven't really seen him step up that much yet, Tsunami. Is that because of his heroes that he's been playing today?
I think partly the heroes that he's playing, but also the heroes that his team is playing. I think that he hasn't been given the correct draft to let him pop off on a thing like Ember Spirit that we were talking about. Give him some cheap initiation that he can get in and out. Give Spirit a taste of their own medicine, because so far, every time you're running an IO strat, it's more on the shoulders of Ame to finish the game off, and that has not been happening for the first 2 games.
So to beat Team Spirit, you gotta pick a Spirit, Tigo.
Maybe so. I actually hate spirits. Don't forget that.
But
no,
you like to break a spirit, though.
I do like to break a spirit. But yeah, Team Spirit, their second pick, right? So in both the previous 2 games. So in the draft order, that simply means that they get to pick the core after seeing 4 heroes and the mid after seeing all 5 of PSG 2 times in a row. So we mentioned the idea of the impact of Ame, the impact of Nothing to Say. It is a product of the Lesh was a sacrificial type pick in the draft. This Pangolier was kind of thrown out there, not a comfort from Nothing to Say. So I would really love to see either they shift around their first pick drafting style to enable the players a bit more, or take that second pick one time and just give it a go where they actually get to go, okay, this is our best core in the game, this is our best read on the game, and give it a go. Because right now, Spirit is utilizing that 18 and 24 very well.
Yeah, let's see what's going to happen. It is time for Game 3 of this Grand Finals.
Team Spirit versus PSG LGD. Grand Finals, Game 3.
Welcome again to the draft panel of the Grand Finals for Game 3 between Team Spirit and Team LGD. And honestly, second pick.
Yeah, it means that now they are forcing LGD to, they're making them second guess themselves. They're making the 15. So you have Silent talking to them, and they're all looking at it, kind of drinking whatever word he's giving them, and they're uniting, you know, feeling. You know, bringing the uprising energy.
It's two completely different teams right now from what we could see body language-wise. I wonder if this change-up will make them feel slightly better, because now it's a new page, new book. Xiaowei is going to go back to a second pick. Maybe that will give them some type of confidence boost or belief in now what they're going to do. I do think that they need to play harder, play better. Team Spirit is showing up today, and LGD, they need to bring their A game every game.
And we see, like, even though they lost last game, even though they're down 2-0, I think this might actually be a good sign for LGD.
Yes.
They're still confident, even against what Clap showed on the Magnus. I think this is the first time I've really seen people pick the right counters against Magnus.
Finally.
You need to deal with the skewer, right?
It is finally coming up, and I also want to mention, like, this is the beauty of Dota. Magnus has dominated many patches. It has dominated many years for different reasons. It has been about Empower at times. It has been about RP at times. This Magnus is about skewer. It's about repositioning a hero in a way where the fight is so unfair for one team.
Yep.
But this skewer play is stoppable. It's stoppable by a Rubik Lift, probably one of the best tools in the game. Yule Scepter, you know, Lion Hack, like you Force Staff. There are ways to stop this cure from happening. This Magnus doesn't buy BKB early in the game. He's playing with Force Staff, either lens, like, and you have to stop it. And I love the confidence from LGD in a way. You know, maybe Xiaowei, maybe somebody in that booth is telling them, hey, I know this Magnus looks strong, it looks unbeatable, it is beatable. Stop this cure play. Now you end up with a Magnus stuck in the fight, cooldown skewer. He's just gonna die. No RP, the whole team fight goes away. And then the fight is absolutely terrible. Great way from LGD to counter it. It is abusable, and they're going for it. I love it. That is confidence.
Yeah, I think
remaining.
Has to be able to play Dota to their fullest, even down 0-2. You know, the Mag Jogger, for instance, it's not as much about this cure than other things. You get this Jogger to a very strong moment. The Magnus can play without blinks. We've seen Magnus win games without blink dagger. He just build on top of, you know, he goes Mech into blink. He can decide to go Mech into Greaves this game. Mech into Greaves into Crest and put that on this one hero that's just gonna, and then
now I'm seeing things, and I'm seeing this Morphling ban. I think it would also be a good pick for them. They're also worried about like a Willow Morph combo, but it's good against Mag. It would be good with Undying. It's what they're looking for forcing objectives and things like this. I wonder if they're going to have a solid plan going into this, if they're drafting free, or if Shao 8 is also dealing with all this pressure that they might be feeling, being the favorites, having not lost many games before, and now losing games for like the first time. Ooh.
Interesting this game. The Mag doesn't have to go into the Undying lane. Mag mid is Echo Saber Mag. He's just gonna blink, RP, kill. He doesn't cure back, you know, and he is not gonna care as much about what's being built, and they get also to counterpick the Spectre greatly on the lane. It's a possibility, but they could also decide. Try to make a case for LGD, for the LGD fans or the ones that are hopeful to see a game 4. They have very strong lanes. I mean, Bloodseeker versus PA, you know, I speak from experience. Like, as an offlaner, I can tell you this is a free lane. Yep. He's going to have the lane of his life, especially with Rubik on this lane. You know, they did see the Magnus and they decided to go with the Undying and the Spectre, so I can only assume that they're happy with this lane too. So now these are two side lanes, they're going to get the last pick for nothing to say. He has proven that he can, you know, truly dumpster a lane if he's given the tools for it.
Tinker's still in the pool this game.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
I think he plays an insane Tinker.
They also have a way to force these fights. I mean, at the end of the day, they do have Rupture plus Tombstone, and that is a way to fix the fight somewhere, you know, and force them to fight into the Tombstone, give the Rubik freedom to position himself around the fight how he wants and gets his spells off. And, you know, and we all know what Xingqiu can do when he's enabled in these fights. there are ways for LGD to make that happen. I see the Tinker. Then the Tinker would actually, you know, Tombstone, Night Vision, Bloodseeker.
Our band. We have.
Do you feel like he needs like a preemptive Tinker counter though? Because when you guys are talking about Tinker, I feel like it seems so free. I mean, you guys
it's very free right now.
He has to color the Tinker angle. He has to, but no puck, no swarm.
He's going to be making Team Spirit run away. They're going to be dying from rockets. It could be a massacre. It always has the potential. This hero is. Builder too, but I think these guys have shown the world some incredible games and the beauty of the game and the beauty of these heroes and what you can actually make happen. So either way, I'll be happy for Team Spirit, but boy, I want to see more games too.
And finals, PSG LGD against Team Spirit. Team Spirit up at the moment, 2-0. One game away from potentially taking that championship spot. Insane. We heard from the panel there during the draft. They were they predicted it perfectly.
Proven, we're one of the best teams fighting you. In other games, they just didn't have a chance to do it. So I really like this draft from them, and I think they have a way to, you know, battle out against Spirit. But at the same time, I see a way for Spirit to deal with a Tinker. I don't think it's an uncountered Tinker. I just think of the way Yatoro plays. I could easily see him, you know, get on top of the Tinker and pick him off in a fight, come in from the sides with Meld, and, you know, read the movement correctly.
LGD, whilst they've definitely got a lot of heroes to create that vision, set up for the Tinker to go crazy in the team fight, sort of similar to, I believe, the Game 1 draft, there's not a lot of stuns.
Yep, you're right about that. And I think the idea here for them is that you're not really going to be committing into fights. You're not jumping a hero and then just trying to stun him and lock him down and chase him down. You're rather trying to burst somebody really quick and then resetting out. So the idea of using Rupture and then dropping Tombstone is going to be their key way of team fighting. And then you're going to use Rubik primarily for counter initiation. So when somebody comes into your backline or when somebody chases down the Bloodseeker, that's when you'll see the Rubik coming with lift. That's when he's going to come in with a clutch tornado or something along those lines.
Let's see how these lanes end up panning out here in the early game. Yatoro on his PA, as we said. This time a hero that he has already pulled out on the main stage.
I love this from Yatoro. If we take a look at the bottom lane, he's so good at doing this. As soon as you see Zinky run for this block on the small camp, he doesn't care if he misses a creep or two. Just immediately runs over, make sure they get that pressure. Zinky's immediately forced to TP out. So that's mana. That's a Fade Bolt that he's not going to be able to use on them. Plus he doesn't have a TP. So just really nice gameplay from Yatoro, helping out his position 5 player win these trades.
Not even stepping up there, trying to get connection onto Jinkyu, but smartly keeping his distance. We'll have to watch out when the level 2s are hit. I mean, this lane in general, when you see the Bloodseeker Rubik, do you feel that that is a lane that the PA can struggle against, or is it not too bad?
I think it's the kind of lane where they can kill the Rubik. Oh, and here we go. This might be first blood.
They're going to try. They get in the Thunder Strikes there, Maposhka. First blood for him down in this lane. The trades favoring them here between the supports.
Yeah, so if you think about how the lane is structured, Bloodseeker Rubik, they want to slowly harass you out of the lane. And if you think about Disruptor PA, it's a similar story. But Disruptor PA have kill threat on Rubik because the silence from Bloodseeker is so slow that he can't really save his Rubik if they go on him.
My goodness, look at this aggression in mid from Toronto Tokyo. Really building back, nothing to say.
Yeah. He does have his bottle though, and the water runes are up, so he should be easily be able to run to the top one and pick it up for himself.
would have had in mind. They knew that this was going to be, there was potential of this coming up as the last pick for PSG LGD.
If I'm being honest, I don't feel like they've really addressed the Tinker in their draft. Positioning. They're expecting something to happen down here.
They certainly are. Yatura just trying to farm with the dagger from the blur.
Invoker's resetting back on the lane as well in the middle lane to set up for a potential TP.
Let's see if Xingqiu and Faith Bian feel that they can strike. They're being careful. They know that a reaction will come out if they decide to try and dive in on Yatura, so they won't fall for it.
But yeah, so far you notice as soon as the wave goes out of his tower, he's forced off. And Spectre's just comfortably sitting top. He knows that he can lane against the mag at this point and doesn't really feel the pressure. However, despite all of this, Spirit does have a slight gold lead all around.
Incredibly close though. PSG LGD, they're bringing extra numbers down bottom white. They just want to dive in for Yatura, they commit with the rupture here. Horn over as well, they PA, Yatura will fall. See if they can get Maposhka as well with the four of them and the tombstone down. They certainly can. The pressure and mounting PSG down on this bottom lane. They know that they can get it and get away with this, especially with the global backup of armor.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is one of the strengths of Undying in the early game, because once you place that tombstone, the enemy team doesn't really want to TP in. They couldn't really respond with their heroes they wanted to. Mirror started his TP, but immediately canceled it, recognizing that, you know what, I can't TP into the tombstone. It's not going to be a good fight for me.
It's a collapse. Trying to play around with Xingqiu. They do have further members coming up. Team Spirit off the back of those deaths down bottom. Yatura, he'll move himself up to the top half of the map to farm up here. Tier 1 tower will be lost. PSG LGD with an early objective.
Is under attack.
Yep, they're just evening out the map, swapping sides here. You see even a scan going out on the trees, making sure that nothing's here setting up. And one of the best ways to deal with Tinker is that you want to try to get these early towers, because Tinker abuses the towers on the map in order to fight. It provides him with safety, a place that he can TP to, come in and out, use all of his mana, go back to base, do it again. So it's important for Team Spirit to try to get the towers early, because once Tinker comes online, it's going to be very difficult for them to do it.
See where they look to head over next. Spirit staying together. I'll take some of the jungle away from PSG LGD.
Yep, so Tinker just finished up the blink. This is going to be their first timing to fight. You have Rupture up. Look for that Rupture into Tombstone combination once more, with a Tinker TPing in and dropping lasers rockets.
We'll have to be done without the Haunt. That's still out for about 80 seconds.
It looks like they're playing it patient. They don't feel rushed to make this move yet. And this is another of the nice parts about Undying. Unlike most 5s, he has the ability to farm jungle camps quite easily because he just drops a tombstone, and the tombstone deals damage over time and spawns all these zombies that allow him to farm these camps and get some extra gold. So he's closing in on a 6th.
And Yatoro, the space is here. Clearing up the stacks. Keeping his farm on par with that of Arme. Having an equally good time, of course, building straight into the stats right now. Falcon Blade into the S&Y, he has to buff up with the Empower.
Yep. As soon as that Empower runs out, look at Collapse. He immediately runs over. And this goes back to what Seb talked about, right? This game is more about the Empower. They're not playing around the Skewer in the same way that they were in the previous games. Has a smoke coming down bottom.
So if the 3 members of Spirit can find some action, they do have 6 on the supports. The Static Storm and the Fear ready to play with. PSG LGD, they're doing a great job of avoiding this.
Yeah, just great presence here from LGD. Now we're the ones that are allowed to respond, and it seems like they understand now how Spirit's playing the pace of the map, and they understand what Spirit wants to do. They're going to make assumptions based on your movement, and it feels like LGD are getting a better and better read of it. And yeah, I think that's largely due to the fact
Not quite able to get round the trees to get that setup as Toronto Tokyo makes it out of there. They lose 2 supports, they get the Spectre. You happy with that if you're Spirit?
I think Spirit's okay with it. I think this is like, LGD recognize that our Tinker is so strong right now. There's no real counterplay. Even if the PA gets on top of him right now, the PA doesn't deal enough damage to burst him. So I think for LGD, you want to try to abuse his timing where your Tinker's very strong and he's outputting damage. And Ahmed dying once or twice here or there while he doesn't have Haunt isn't the worst for them, as long as they get some sort of response in return.
Back to the farming, and
Radiant's middle tower is
800 or so, the axe to be done on Arme. They are on track to hit a very good timing. And we've seen already the responses from PSG LGD each and every time Spirit try and make a move have been top tier. But now the move that Spirit can make, it's going to be much more deadly. Collapse, the Blink Dagger on its way over to be in his hands. We saw what he was achieving last game when he was jumping all over the place. Let's see if he can pull it off again and start to literally tear PSG LGD apart with his abilities to just grab them and throw them around the battlefield.
Yeah, absolutely. But this game is much more challenging than the previous ones. There's going to be rockets flying at you. There's going to be tombstone zombies. You have many things that are going to get in your face, as well as the Bloodseeker Bloodright. So he's going to have to both navigate these spells and make sure that he doesn't get caught before that. Plus, on top of that, there's a Haunt, right, to provide all this vision for LGD. So I feel like the way the game is shaping up, it's falling a lot into Yatoro's hands. And he's proven that he can do it.
Yes.
But his farm and the way he plays his team fight out is going to be very key in order for them to be able to stand a chance against LGD.
No, absolutely. As I say, this BKB, if he can get this quickly, that's going to be a huge nuisance. Not too much they can do through it. The Rupture being the main one. But if the setup's there and Collapse, Miposhka, Mirror, they're able to hold the heroes in position. This PA is not going to have to step around the fight too much. As long as they're able to stand in position and get the hits in, they can have the heroes brought to them.
Absolutely. Ahmed finished up his Aghanim's, and once they get this timing coming, you see LGD immediately smoke up. They're checking for wards. They drop a sentry to block the Ancients. They know the PA is playing in this area. Unfortunately, they just made the wrong guess. So you either here are going to assume that he's at the two camps up in where they are right now, or that he's playing at the Ancients. But look at Toro. He sniffs it out.
It's so hard to catch this man. He's just always a step ahead.
I mean, the way they're reading the map is just very intelligent. I think they realize when the Spectre runs back to base that, hey, something's probably happening, right? He's not just running back to base because he wants to. They know that the item is very likely coming. And then when all the heroes then disappear, that is another sign for Yatoro to be like, okay, I can't show.
We're going to see the attempt onto Toronto Tokyo down bottom. Azame, he'll jump over. Sentry still down. Toronto Tokyo trying to hide himself in the trees. They'll stop. Same time over towards the mid. They will lose Faith Beyond. The counterplay was made by Spirit. See the TP out as well. Mirror gets back to safety, so 1 for 1 across the map here.
2 seconds for the skewer. Glimpse. Skewer back.
They've got the dagger slow to set it up. He's able to dodge the decay nicely so that he didn't get hit, could still get the blink off. But now Arme, he's ready to come back in. Yatoro's off to the side. The rocket's not enough, but nothing to say. Jumps in to finish him off. The fear, the counterplay here from Spirit. Nothing to say. Is caught underneath the tower. Have they got enough damage here for the Willow and the Magnus to start onto the two of them underneath the tower? Nothing to say. Surely going to go down. He will collapse. Skewer over into the trees. Collapse. He's still alive here. Can they quite find him? Wise coming back over. Steps into collapse. Finally, they burst in with a paintball. But this battle underneath the tower, it's costing PSG LGD lives as well. The route down, catching the two, pushing them back into it with a deafening blast. Arme, he's going to turn back over towards Toronto Tokyo. He's going to jump in, close the gap onto the Invoker Mirror. Maposh, can they help him out? They cannot. Arme able to finish off Toronto Tokyo as well.
That was beautiful. I love the way Nothing to Say played that team fight. He recognized that if this PA is dead, there's no damage coming out of the Spirit draft. So trading his life for PA is really what enabled this entire fight to happen. You'll see a lot of Tinker players just, you know, they're like, I'm not going to go in, I might die. But he recognized that my death is worth it if I can take the PA with me. Just beautifully executed there from LGD. Ame also, small thing in the fight, TP's back to base, heals up, uses Aghanim Scepter to jump back into the team fight and get those last couple of kills.
And Ame is crazy. We're seeing the power of that Shadow Step. He's in and out consistently, that 30-second cooldown, easily able to do it a couple of times in a team fight.
Yeah, Mira, nice play. Knows there's no stuns that can catch him here, so there's no skewer on the Rubik. He's not going to get caught during that. We have another big interesting item coming up. There's going to be the Holy Locket for the Undying, and once he has Soul Rip maxed out, okay, he already has Soul Rip maxed out, together with the Holy Locket, this healing is ridiculous. So basically the way it works is the more units there are, the more you're going to heal. And with Tombstone and the way it functions, you just spawn a bunch of extra units. So you're almost always going to get that maxed out heal. So any sort of healing tool, together with Spectre's Dispersion, just deals incredible amounts of damage in the team fights. I feel like LGD's draft is really coming together now.
Absolutely. So in a way that we just haven't seen from them so far in this series. Mid lane, they're looking to jump onto Toronto. Tokyo will be able to turn with a quick tornado. The attention from PSG will turn over towards Mirror. Into the Shadow Realm though. They still want to dive this, dropping down the tombstone, just full aggression for PSG, diving past the tier 1 tower. The Rockets, they come through. He's got to get up, but he can't. Army! He's in straight on top of him.
That's just beautiful. They're abusing these vision tools so nicely. You have the Tombstone, you have the Bloodseeker. There's so many ways to get vision in these team fights.
I mean, this Arme Spectre's looking pretty spooky. He's picking up the kills, the involvement here. PSG LGD just fighting in a way that we haven't seen from them so far in this series. Let's see the jump forward onto Fabian. Underneath the tail, we caught, but the heel comes in. He is trapped in the Static Sword, trying to run, but the Thunderstrike finishes him off. TP's coming in for Spirit. Why? Trying to dive in onto Yatoro. Another Soul Rip, healing Y up. He's going to stay on top of the PA, but the hits come out. Yatoro takes him down.
He's able to get away. Oh, that was close.
See if they can pick up Mirror as well. They can. Nothing to say. In with the laser. And out he goes as well, picking up the action. 2K lead now for PSG LGD. They're starting to break down Spirit.
Yep, they absolutely are, but a very, very important item is about to come into the game, and that is the PA BKB. He's 100 gold off of it, and he's going to have it in the next team fight. And the way this changes the game is the Tinker can no longer just laser the PA and force him to reset out. Yatoro's going to have 9 seconds where he decides what he wants to do. And if those 9 seconds get him the right kills, that's going to be everything they need in order to win the fight.
And during that time, you know, Yatoro, where's he looking first? Is it sort of this Tinker? Does he have to just commit onto Nothing to Say to eliminate the threat from for the rest of his team?
I mean, the ideal scenario, right, is that you kill the Tinker with the PA BKB, because the only thing really covering you against the Tinker is that BKB. Once that BKB runs out, you're going to see the Tinker lasering you, rocketing you, refreshing, laser rocket again. So the ideal scenario for him is he's allowed to meld and kind of hang around the fight as it breaks out, and then once the Tinker commits in, that's when he jumps.
We've got a smoke coming in from PSG LGD. They are very ready to fight. Especially with Arme's heading back to base to reset. He's ready to shadow step in if he's needed.
Tombstone on the high ground.
Yeah, Collapse is just TPing out. Excellent kinetic field from Miposhka. Stops them from being able to chase in. Put a stop to the escape here from Spirit.
Looks like Spirit might want to chase into this though, but they should recognize that Tombstone's been dropped on the high ground, and it might be a hard fight for them.
I mean, Toro. They commit with the BKB. Just goes to work straight away onto Y. They should be able to get this. Yeah, Y's dead for sure. The crit comes in. Y will fall.
LGD are hanging around though. They recognize the importance of this BKB.
Yeah, they've got a bit of a window now to maybe punish if Spirit stick around, but they won't. Back behind the tier 2 tower, Spirit will hold back.
Yeah, it's a tense game. This BKB really is going to be important, so using the first 9-second charge for the Undying, it's okay, but it needs to lead to something. You know, this opens up some time, this gives them some time to farm. Hopefully they can deward some of the vision that LGD are playing with. And if they manage to do these things, and they can reset the map to a position where they can farm up and they can get to the PA shard, they can get these items that the PA needs in order to punish the LGD draft, then it's all good. But if those BKB charges get wasted for support kills that don't lead to more, then it's problematic for them.
PSG LGD, they're trying to sneak the Roshan. Won't be the quickest though, and already actually deciding that they don't want to spend any further moments committing. A Spirit potentially around the area, and they are. Spirit more than happy to fight. Blink RP at the ready. A big old Sarah for PSG LGD though as well. Haunt good to go again for Arme. 200 gold away from the Manta style as well.
Yeah, Y leading the charge. All he needs to do is get that Tombstone down before the fight starts, and he's going to do it as soon as the smoke pops.
He's going to pop it down immediately to see what he can find. Will just be Mirror. The Shadow Realm and the TP out will get him away from this, so now no Tombstone for the fight.
Yeah, but he does have that level 10 talent. This was recently added. The minus 15 seconds Tombstone cooldown makes it less of a committal when you use it.
Oh, Toronto Tokyo. And he's going to end up walking his Bloodseeker mid, Faith Beyond. Just turns straight away upon him. Toronto Tokyo was not prepared for that at all. Just standing there in the mid, and Faith Beyond finds a very tasty surprise.
And now, if the Undying would have had that Tombstone ready, he would have had that ulti ready, you could have seen LGD potentially poking at the Roche. But what they ideally want is for... okay, they actually already do have the Mantle Inspector, so never mind. But that is a big Roche tool. Once you get Mantle Inspector, you have the Desolate to deal true damage to the Roche, and then it goes down very quickly. But they're happy with the pace of the game right now. They're happy with how it's playing out.
I see
Shard finished on PA.
He's coming across this tree line. He knows that Nothing to Say is playing here behind the tower. He's going to try for the catch, won't get it. Goes for the attempt, but Nothing to Say out of range.
And power stolen by Rubik as well, by the way. So the Spectre is now matching the PA's farm speed.
About 2k in it at the moment between Arme and Yatoro, but definitely having that ability on their side as well will help him close the gap. Online for the Skadi next after the Manta.
Yeah, intense game. Both teams just holding their high grounds, understanding where they're strong. Neither of them willing to fight into the other team's vision. If you look at how Y is positioned, he's standing right outside of that ward until he's ready to run in.
Do they want to fight Spirit? They're on the low ground. Tombstone dropped. As soon as it's out, Team Spirit, they'll retreat.
Yeah, I think this is a very intelligent thing that LGD have recognized in this game. They've been dominated in vision for 2 games straight, and they feel like, you know what, maybe they're better warding than me. How do I solve it? Well, collapse. Pick heroes like a vision.
He's going to look to get it. Grab on the Fate Beyond, but RP catches the 2 calls. Sunstrike comes in. They kill off Fate Beyond. The Static Storm is onto Arme, but Yatoro's going to look to bail out. Collapse as well. Go for the TP away. Gets out. They all get out on Spirit.
Oh, Zinq just barely missing the RP on the PA there. That would have been a massive kill. But you see this from Spirit, right? As soon as that BKB is ticking low, he has to TP out of the fight.
Yeah, they know exactly when to sort of just get out of that. They get their kill, they get their trade. They know not to push it for anything more. Team Spirit knowing the exact moment to call it quits and reset.
Yeah, absolutely. Yatoro is playing this game excellently. But I do worry, once this BKB starts sticking out, the Tinker's closing in on a Hex, right? So even the threat of potentially jumping on him is going to be hard. You see Yatoro's also buying that Desolator. It's not a Basher. It's an item that will allow him to necessarily kill the Tinker if he has that Hex.
They're going to go for the Roche now. They know there's no RP.
Yeah.
So if they have the damage to take this out and see if Spirit still want to try and make a jump into them.
Yeah, so between the laser, the Mantle Spectre, the Undying damage amplification.
Gonna get the fear, quite nicely timed. Roshan is very low. Is there any potential for a steal?
Yeah, absolutely. Yatoro.
He's not able to get it. He's not able to get it. Arme gets the kill. The Aegis on the Spectre. Spirit, they've got to be cautious. Yatoro pops the BKB. Low, throw out the daggers, but they surrounded by PSG LGD. Maposhka as well, caught in the river. They couldn't make the jump in time, and Yatoro just getting burst so heavily before he could actually get the BKB off there.
Yep, excellent gameplay from LGD right now. They're banging on all cylinders.
They are. We did not see anything close to this in the first 2 games. PSG LGD finding their confidence, their fire, as they're hitting back hard here in this 3rd game.
Yeah, absolutely. I just feel like the way that they've approached Vision this game is just so smart. I think this is what they were missing in the first 2 games. These tools that provide them with Vision, and the adaptation to recognize that is amazing.
Jumping around the map, collapse this time around, the damage, too overbearing from Arme and his illusions.
All right, so for the side of Spirit here, I think it's getting increasingly difficult. You're starting to feel the pressure of the Tinker. You recognize that, you know what, there's that Hex, there's that Aghanims, and once my BKB's out, I'm not really sure how to fight into these heroes. And we haven't really seen Toronto Tokyo in this game. He hasn't really had a game, so this Tinker pick from PSG LGD is played out beautifully.
It's definitely turning into a game where when you look at the farm on the cores, a lot is on Yatoro's shoulders, whereas on the side of PSG LGD, the wealth very evenly split between Nothing to Say and Arme, both of these cores, and it just in combination with one another. Spectre, Tinker, nobody wants to play against a good mid laners watching Q. He did, using the RP to catch Yatoro completely off guard. He wasn't ready for that at all. We'll now see them try and turn towards Fate Beyond, but the Soul Reveal comes out. The Meteor crashing down on the Bloodseeker. They find him in return. Mirror dusted in position here. Wide trying to look towards him, but the field holds back the Undying. Mirror gets away. But a quick move there from Xingqiu.
Yeah, they're still not ready though if they want to look for more.
See, jump over towards Toronto Tokyo. He's out of mana, he's out of luck. Arme continuing to be an absolute beast this game.
And the team fights are just so hard for Spirit, and especially if Yatoro isn't there to play the fights for them. They really need him. What a beautiful initiation from the Rubik there with the RP. You know, whiffed the one earlier up top, but gets the more important one here mid.
I mean, they're down 8k at
Kita harap
Let's go to the TP over the Yules is there. Yatura trying to get him for BK50 Hill.
Yang Maha Menteri untuk meminta satu
Collapse goes down. Yatura will be able to save himself. PSG LGD, they're looking to see if they can chase for more. Fabian trying to run down Toronto Tokyo. But the Invoker, just as speedy as himself, will manage to break away.
What an unbelievable play by Y, though. He just put his courier on this hill, waiting for that ward to come out, recognizing that if they smoke, mid lane's where they're going to go.
I know they're going for more. They're ready to try and get the jump in onto Yatura, but Yatura thinking straight over to the safety of Miron. Nothing to say, and Arme's power just continuing to grow.
And we've talked about this a lot, but you know, Roshan's about to spawn. Heroes start moving over to the top side, secure that area. Y already has the ward down. Notices there are no heroes there. That means we know where Spirit are, and immediate smoke over.
Collapse. Ooh. He's out with a blink. Same can't be said for Maposhka though. Disruptor will die. is the power that we've seen from PSG LGD in the series before, in this run in the upper bracket. And it's coming out just where it's needed the most. They were knocked down hard in the first 2 games, and I think a lot of people were definitely going to be interested to see if they could somehow regain that control. Not an easy place to be in, as you said. For them, the pressure incredibly high in this. They will not accept anything less than first place.
Yeah, absolutely. We have another fight brewing. This is the only side of the map that Spirit has wards on. So Spirit are not willing to take this team fight into LGD. I'm really curious what fight they're going to look for. This is the one, I think. Can't go on Ame though. The Aegis protects him.
2 minutes still with that safety on the Spectre.
But yeah, if we think about the mentality of LGD coming into this game, right, the pressure was definitely on them. I mean, Johan and Seb talked about what they saw backstage, what they saw in their expressions. I'm sure this kind of momentum for them is huge. And it's something that you need in order to win TI, right? You need to have that attitude of champions.
Look at this jump. Look at the... Just BKB still see the jump from Ame. He's in with the bash onto Toronto, Tokyo. Let's push back with the deafening blast, but they're in with the grab. Nothing to say. He's in with the nukes.
He's playing with so much confidence on this Tinker. I was talking about how he needs to wait out for the PA, but he recognizes, you know what, there's no way to PA his bottom here, and just full commits into their base.
He's level 26 on this Tinker right now.
He is incredibly farmed. He's going to finish a Bloodstone too, or an Octarine Core, sorry.
I mean, without a doubt, we saw how much Collapse could do last game when he was just
top tower is under
in the lead, ahead, just playing around with food. He's got to make some big moves here from the defensive position, as he is losing teammates around him to the consistent dives from PSG LGD. He'll try and get the grab here onto Ame. It's not going to happen. Forced back to the fountain. As PSG LGD, they've got all the space in the world to push in onto the tier 3. Can Team Spirit get them out of here? There's no buyback on Toronto, Tokyo, still down for 30 seconds. And without Mirror as well, they'll have to, by the looks of it, at least let one set of Rex go down here. There's no defense to be had quite yet for Spirit.
That's so hard to fight into this Tombstone. You saw Jesper were kind of thinking about it. He was looking for that potential wraparound, but recognizing that, you know what, my team won't be able to support me. Even if I can catch the Tinker in the backlines, I don't have the power to kill him on my own.
Oh, look how much money he's got. 6k gold in the bank here. Nothing to say. He can really start picking up whatever he wants now. Just filling up those inventory slots.
Yeah, absolutely. Finishes up that Octarine Core. Just wants that mana pool. Ooh.
We'll have a momentary pause here. 15 to 30. 24,000 net worth lead for PSG LGD. The numbers looking very good for them right now.
I have a hard time. I'm trying to think of scenarios for Spirit. It feels difficult to find a way to do it. But I really like this choice from Yatoro. I think this refresher could be genius. It could just be the thing that they need.
I mean, the problem is, even if they get these kills right on the defensive Team Spirit, it's a Spectre and a Tinker. You kill these heroes, they're buying back, their boots are traveling over, they're haunting in, they're shadow stepping back into the action. Killing them once is not going to be enough. PSG LGD will use the opportunity to get in and destroy you, even if they lose a core at the start.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're totally right about that, Owen, and that is why they are so far ahead, right? They have all these options, they have all of these tools, but if anything could potentially catch them off guard, I mean, PA refresher, when have you seen that? I think once that BKB runs out, expect Nothing to Say to blink in to be ready to hex. And if he gets that refresher off, if Nothing to Say didn't click on a PA, that could mean his death.
I mean, it
Pak Waka ada nama Am.
Yeah. I mean, the problem really for Spirit, like, how do you kill the other heroes? If not PA. If PA can't commit on them, how does anything die?
Of course, PSG LGD there. You're going to be feeling very comfortable. Nothing to say in Arme. More than happy to farm up sort of their 6th item. Looking for the Orchid into the Bloodthorn here for Arme. Nothing to say. Getting close to having the comfort of the overwhelming blink, maybe even holding on for his buyback as well.
Toro? Oh. He's caught.
Yeah. He's been caught here. He needs help and he needs it now. The BKB comes out. It has been ruptured. Not much he can do, and Arme, he's in with the illusion, surrounds him.
Do it himself.
Yeah, collapse, giving Jin-Q the respect as well there. With the words of Purge in the tip. I mean, this is what the PSG LGD fans expected to see from them in this grand finals. They just took a bit of time to turn up today. Needed a bit of warm-up. The first 2 games, that was that. But this game 3, full power here. Even just into the base, Arme just killing off poor old Miposhka.
Yeah, LGD are playing with such confidence. But at the same time, patience. Whenever they need to slow down, you know, they're doing it. Oh, the immediate roach spawn. Nice. They're very happy about this, I'm sure.
And nothing to be done about this from Spirit whatsoever. So fall straight into the hands of PSG LGD. As we'll see, poor old Miposhka has tried his best to defend against the creeps, and then suddenly an Arme appears on top of him, disappears as quickly as it appears. But the job is done. Miposhka taken out. No place is safe right now from this Spectre.
Yeah, and the Rubik gets the Aghanim's scepter. This is probably one of my favorite Aghanims in the game. It's always a great feeling when you have it as Rubik. So one of the cool things about this that I don't think we've ever talked about is when you spell steal, and most teams aren't aware that you have an Aghs, they kind of think, all right, Rubik used it. You hear the bling sound, and then you're, okay, I can use my spells however I want. But with the Aghs, that throws it off. That just makes it easier for you to get those big steals that you want to get. So highly doubt Team Spirit to be ready for this, but to be fair, they've had a lot of time to sit in the base. Usually what you do during this time is you're starting to discuss everything. What is it that LGD can do? How do they approach this fight? What are they going to be looking for? What are we looking for? What are our objectives here? Which heroes do we need to go on? What spells do we need to save? All these things should be discussed for Spirit, and they should have a structured fight in mind here, because you can predict what's going to happen.
I mean, 40,000 gold down right now, Spirit. PSG LGD. It looks like a pretty smooth sailing here to the victory. Is there really anything the Spirit can pull off whilst this far behind?
I mean, it's a matter of finding the tinker. I really think so. Of course, you can always win. In Dota, I feel like you always have the option of winning. And especially in late game, yeah, there's 40,000 net worth differentiating you, but there's no amount of net worth that will make up for a bad positioning or, you know, the clutch play. So formation is really important here for LGD. And if Yatora can find some sort of backline kill, that could open the fight up entirely.
Radiant's middle barracks are under attack.
Approaching the Sparrow. Gonna jump in underneath the tier 4. They're in on him, Miposhka. He's gone. Collapse will try and jump in with the skewer back onto Arme. Yatori's committed onto the front lines with the BKB, but he's been disarmed, gets the fan of knives off. Now turns everyone's wide, but look how much HP Y's got. Yatori. Refresher. Doesn't want to come in. Nothing to sneeze in with that. Extend locked down. Yatori. Yatori to fall. Buyback at the ready. Instant smoke up from Spirit. Mirror. set things up with the curse crack. They get the glimpse back. And looking for the skewer, but he's actually able to get out here with a Manta. Arme won't be grabbed back yet. Steps back to the safety of his team. PSG LGD still respecting the buybacks here from Spirit. They won't instantly push in onto the melee racks, but the rocket spam begins from nothing to say. Ti10, he's going to look to try and jump outside of the base. He's able to jump it onto GQ. He's going to go for nothing to save, nothing to blink off in time. Back up to the high ground, he knows, but Arme trying to get in. They get the steal. Arme, he's in the fountain. He's got him into the fountain. Can he get out? He cannot. They've done it the once. Can they do it again? It's just the three of them. The meatball's coming down. He needs help! He's in the fountain and it isn't his own! He was attempting, but the Yules is there to stop Oh man, he'll get out of the fountain alive! GG is called! And PSG LGD will take this game 3!
I love that so much, Owen. That's so beautiful. Thing happened. You got the skewer into the fountain.
Oh my goodness.
The fountain. They counter blink the skewer in again, but no, the Yules, and then the stolen skewer, and you pull out a hero of your own.
They do.
Into the GG.
Wow. I mean, they fought right up until the end here in this game 3, Spirit, but they were too far behind. PSG LGD. I mean, this is them looking phenomenal and completely in the comfort zone. Something that